Hello.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi.
Oh, what is that face? What was that face?
I'm happy to be here. We've been off the air for too long.
Yeah, we were off last week, but we're back.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nerdemic show here on ORB Radio 1 Uno. ORB Radio Uno.
Yes.
In Spanish.
Thank you for backing me up on that.
That's right. I'm not sure any of the letters are right, but they'll get it.
On Radio if we're going to go with French.
Radio. Radio Ein.
Radio Ein.
We could have foreign viewers.
I'm not saying anything, so I'm going to try really hard to not start an argument when the show starts.
Fair point.
I'm going to be good
beginning
this
of
week.
every single show, should we just go through the different languages of possible viewers?
So, for any new viewers, should we tell them what this show is all about?
Basically, it's about three idiots chatting nonsense.
Pretty much.
Well, there is some sense.
Yes, we
have a general theme at the very least.
Yeah, true.
We're arguing already, guys. We're arguing already.
So the Nerdemic show is a 3-hour broadcast about all the latest nerdy, geeky news. We have our TV and film section, the anime section, science. We have a quiz, which is always fun.
This week.
A video game section, which we should just call gaming, because I think I think we should expand past just video games
To like role play games?
Yeah, definitely.
Board
Monopoly.
games.
Mind games.
Let's just talk about. let's just play a game of Monopoly on the show one week.
Today in Mind Games.
Well, we're doing a D&D at some point, so
Yeah,
we'll just put it all onto one massive gaming section.
got science and technology.
Science and tech.
I said that. Yep, that's pretty much it for this week, isn't it?
We forgot
Comic section.
comics.
Yeah, comics. That's
Your
right.
big section.
Yeah, my main section. Let's not forget that.
Let's definitely not.
I'm
forget
trying
that
not
section.
to, but you're making it very difficult for me. So in each section, obviously, we'll be exploring some of the more recent news, our opinions on these things. Plenty to talk about. Lots of news.
We have a lot of news this
especially
week.
in TV and film.
We weren't on live last week, so we've got some of the big news stories from last week still in the script.
So it's mainly just us telling you stuff you already know and then giving our opinions that you don't care about.
Isn't that what most radio is?
What I mean, what
we
could
have
be
brand new
wrong with
news.
that?
We've got a couple of actual stories in here, which is actually breaking news. This has happened in the last couple of hours.
But importantly, we want you guys at home to give us your opinions on all these matters and much more. Get in contact with us. You can tweet us here in the studio on Twitter at Online Radio BC. If you are watching us via our website.
Should have started the show like this. Don't know why.
Callum's having a minor identity crisis.
Tweet us, of course, at Nerdemic
At
Show.
Nerdemic as well. Yes.
At Nerdemic Show. We can throw your tweets live up on the screen. It's very cool.
Yes, we can. You can email us here in the studio at radio@onlineradiobroadcasting.com. And you can, of course, all you lovely, wonderful people that are watching on YouNow.
Hello, you now.
Hello,
You people on YouNow who has stumbled across #nerd.
Yes, we're on a new hashtag this week.
#nerd. You can pop all your comments in the box and I will read them out. Lindsay M says, hey, and then some faces with the tongue, this face. See, if you put a face on, I will reenact the face live on air.
I quite like that, yeah.
That's my challenge.
She apparently also won the quiz last week, so good luck with my quiz this week.
Well, I certainly didn't win last week, given that there wasn't a quiz last week.
Well, she means the last show.
I assume she meant the last show.
Yes. I was not here last week as it was my wonderful girlfriend's birthday.
None of us were here last week because James forgot that we were doing a show.
So I safari parked. That's what I did last week.
That's quite cool.
I went to the Science Museum, Kieran, in London. Not on the same day. That's quite a jam-packed day.
I love the Science Museum
I went to the Natural History. Me and my girlfriend went to the Natural History and the Science Museum in London.
That's a good day.
I should be prepared for you. If you have any space questions,
I do.
Vis-a-vis the Russian-American space race, I should be all over that.
Nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with that, but we have some space stuff because there's been some cool science space
Can
news this week.
I quickly ask you a question that you might know?
Okay.
Name of the first dog in space?
Oh, I had this today. It's Milo, isn't it?
Nope.
No.
I did know this one.
I had a history.
Was it like Cosmo or something?
No.
No, it's not appropriately. Well, it's
No.
Laika.
That was it.
Laika the rocket dog.
Okay.
Did not return.
I literally heard that,
That you know of.
about
Yeah.
6 hours ago during a history lesson because we're doing Cold War.
Yes, I should be ready for your science.
I mean, look at the
Section
quiz,
going
and
on.
that will
Should
be
be.
completely useless.
Disappointing. But at least I might know some of his sciencey facts. Anyway, that's how you can get in contact with us. Please do. Tell us that we're all idiots. Send some faces in for me to try. So far, I've only got this one.
Hold on, Rick. There is a request on you now for you to slap the mask off Callum. Could we maybe see that at some point in the show?
I've taken Majora's Mask off people, okay?
Maybe later on in the show. We'll wait.
We'll wait. We'll lure him into a false sense of security. Wait until he puts his mask back on, and then boom! I promise I won't physically hit you.
Okay.
Thinking about it, though.
Well, then again, I don't count as a minor anymore in that perspective, because I'm now 16, so you can't actually hit me.
You are still technically a minor.
Yeah, but under the thing of, like...
Also, I'm fairly certain, like, if I were to hit Rick, who is definitely an adult, it still would be against the law.
No, yeah, but I mean, there's not, like, child abuse.
What if I enjoyed it?
Well, then don't call the police.
Fair.
Yeah.
But it's
don't worry. The only reason I've got that mask is it was one of my birthday presents, because I had my birthday last week.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? How was your birthday?
It was alright. I had an exam the day afterwards.
Always good.
Always good. It was a drama practical. But yeah.
Did you show up hungover?
No.
Disappointed.
I haven't drank.
Good message for the kids.
Because I was planning to do a show the next day, so I wasn't going to get drunk on the show.
Ah, please.
Yeah, so I was like... I've already previously mentioned.
I think it's a good. I think it's a good effort.
Yeah, my brother made this for me over the course of 3 days after work. I think it's cool.
I think it's a good effort. It is. I would not be against wearing that to a costume party / rave. So yeah, there you go.
It could do with some eye holes.
Yeah.
I think if you were going to wear it to a rave.
Nah. I'll just paint an image on the back and just presume that that's what I'm seeing constantly.
Turns out you're actually awake.
Anyway, right.
Yes.
Shall we move on to our first section?
Let's begin with
first section.
Whoa.
It's TV and film.
We have images now.
I feel you could have, like... I see how, with all the photoshopping, you know how Superman, the TARDIS, Batman are all in this Avengers kind of image. You could have put our faces there. You could have put Callum's face on like Black Widow.
All right, well, for
my
next
face
week.
on the Hulk and your face on Tony Stark.
I'll work on it for next week.
Which one would you be, though, if you could be one?
Which one would I be?
In that picture,
I'd be the Death Star.
I would take Tony. You can be 4.
What do you mean I could be 4?
Because you said you wanted to be 4.
No, I said I want to be the Hulk.
Oh, you want to be? Where is? Oh, there he is.
Callum, let's face it. If we were the Avengers, you'd be Hawkeye.
Yeah. What? Have amazing.
If we were the Avengers, you'd be Coulson.
No, if I was the Avengers, I would be Hill. I would show up once every other film, and have a couple of cameos in the.
Yeah, but Hill's hot.
If this was the Avengers, you'd be the guy playing Gallagher, who nobody thought we'd notice, but we did.
Oh.
Anyway,
what
news
going on
stories
in
do we
TV
have?
and film?
Anyway, in TV and film, should we go straight into the trailers, or should we move into some of the normal news first?
Hey, you're taking this section, man. You do what you need to.
All right, so let's first very quickly mention that about an hour ago, we had a new Avengers trailer come out today.
Ooh.
About an hour ago.
It was about...
Fresh.
Yeah, it's as new as I can get. I was literally I was getting to a couple more of the images for some of the segments. It was on my Facebook, and it popped up as one of my notifications. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
We have lots to talk about now, don't we?
to talk about.
A baseball
I think
with Mjolnir and Cap's shield.
I think what we should have really done was just turn the sound down and just had our reactions. That trailer was just us going, oh!
What? He flipped and threw his motorbike!
He threw the motorbike!
He threw them out, and then they played baseball with Mjolnir. We now know that Mjolnir definitely is badass.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, we knew that
anyway,
before.
but now you can know... Should we just have a little league tournament of...
Can we play that trailer again? Like, on repeat for the next 3 hours?
Would anyone watching have a problem with that?
I certainly wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
So, yeah, news regarding the Avengers. Despite what that trailer said, because that was a US TV spot,
US TV.
we're actually getting it a full week earlier on the 24th of next month.
22nd April.
It's
No,
23rd.
Well, it's officially the
Some point.
24th. The special preview. There are special previews at some cinemas on the 23rd, but I've actually managed to get myself a ticket to go and see it on the 22nd. So I will be reviewing it on the Nerdemic show on the 23rd. So we'll have an exclusive review of it before it officially comes out.
Is there any more news, or can we just discuss what we want from it?
We have quite a bit of news, but let's discuss it.
No, I mean on Avengers.
Oh, on Avengers. Avengers-wise, no. There's some other Marvel stuff, but nothing Avengers-wise.
What are we hoping from the Avengers, then? One thing that I saw from that trailer is they gave a few people a few witty quips, did they not? None from the one that we all want the witty quips from.
Hulk.
Yeah. The genuinely standout character in the whole of the Avengers, the original movie that nobody saw coming, was the Hulk. And
I think it was such a surprise because of, the reviews that from the actual Hulk films.
Yeah.
No one expected Hulk to be that popular a character. I think they're just saving it for us.
I hope so. I hope we have a few puny god moments, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They really did.
Puny robot.
He should do something like that.
You can definitely see that the team ethics has become a lot stronger since the end of the last movie.
What I'm really hoping from this film is that Quicksilver's accent is better than what we just saw.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
Look at me, I'm from a generic Eastern European country.
I don't know, it had a touch of Italian in as well.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out. Maybe he was just putting on a voice. We don't know. It was a 30-second... No, it was 2-second line.
Yeah.
They're going to be mucking with his origin story anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not going to be, presumably, he's not going to be Magneto's son.
We already knew that.
But I mean, to be honest, they don't need to muck with it that much because, I'll be discussing later because my comic book character of the week this week is Scarlet Witch. They didn't really know that they were related to Magneto until later on in life anyway.
Yeah.
So they don't need to mess about with it that much.
Fair enough. Well, where's he from originally? Not made up via.
No, it is a made-up place. I've got it written down. I'm not going to go into any more detail on them because I'm going to be talking about it later. Let's leave the twins and their incestuous relationship.
Do we worry that, like with a lot of trailers that we see, we have just been given every single good bit of the Avengers movie and we'll be disappointed?
No,
I don't. Because this is Marvel Studios.
We've been given a lot of good stuff. That motorbike, that was ace.
That was
so ace.
How do you explain that to your insurance?
Of what? The
He's
motorbike?
Captain America. I don't think he has insurance. I think his insurance policy
he'd
would
have
be
to have
through the roof. What do you do for a living? Fight bad guys. Fight superhumans.
No,
his insurance policy is not good.
It's for the Jeep of the car that he got through into. So what happened to the Jeep?
Captain America.
America for a bike. Wait, what?
A bike.
A bike.
I'm going to need a whole different form to fill this one out, sir.
I had to explain to someone at work the other day why on St. Patrick's Day I was wearing a Captain America t-shirt and not like something a bit more Irish, because obviously Captain America screams America, not Ireland, and ended up stopping them in their tracks by pointing out that Captain America, Steve Rogers, is the son of 2 Irish immigrants. So he's actually more Irish than a lot of Irish people I know.
I genuinely thought you were going to say that there are so many similarities between them. He's a normal, non-assuming gentleman until he gets his secret formula inside him, in which point he becomes a rage powerhouse.
He's actually just been injected with Guinness.
That's fair analogy, I'd say. That's what I think I'm like. For
breakfast, you only is allowed to eat Lucky Charms.
And the Red Skull is the result of the hangover.
Yeah. That's I feel like Steve Rogers every time I have a few beers. So
I think that's the problem. Everyone does.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So we're all looking very much forward to the Avengers.
Connecting slightly with the Avengers for Infinity Wars, there has been some rumours related to Doctor Strange. He had recently some movie rumours, as well as a possible inclusion inside the Infinity War movie itself. So news has come to light with the Doctor Strange on the side coming up with his Phase 3 movie that comes out in 2017 now, because it got pushed back because of the Spider-Man issue.
Yeah.
So there's been quite a bit tidbits and rumours over the internet about the story, but we have had a possible hint by Marvel that he will be a major role inside the Infinity Wars.
Okay. What kind of bad guy do you think they're going to throw at Strange? I was going to say Hugo Strange then, but that's definitely crossing.
Definitely different. Well, I've actually heard. I've not heard anything about his villain, but I have heard about his potential apprentice.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch.
Oh.
That'd be cool.
There's talks about him about Elizabeth Olsen being in the Doctor Strange film as his apprentice, basically him teaching her how to harness her powers. Because while she's pretty awesome, her whole thing is that she's very unpredictable. She's not entirely in control of her powers, whereas Strange is the sorcerer supreme. Yeah. He wasn't born with his powers; he earned them. He did a lot of training to get them.
It'd be quite interesting because one of Strange's villains was I don't even know how to pronounce the guy's name. The Dormammu. Yeah, that'd be quite amusing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I reckon Dormammu has a good chance of it because he always was one of the very big Doctor Strange ones.
Nice.
Yeah.
It'd be quite amusing just to hear people be like, "Do what?
It'd be fun to see some
Dermot, that's your name." No.
We have morning chat shows that talk about recent movies, and they're just trying to pronounce the bad guy's name.
Well, it's basically like on Pokemania when we try and get Tom and Jamie to read out the answers in the quiz.
Oh yeah, it's always funny. Always funny.
But I was bad.
Or just like Callum pronouncing a Japanese name.
Or sometimes an English one.
Yeah. April 10th's not far away, is it?
Yeah,
they're keeping this very locked down, aren't they?
It's pretty close for them to still be doing teasers.
Yeah, they're keeping it super locked down.
One thing I'm quite liking about it, I've been looking at some of the images and stuff from it, is they're going a lot more kind of comic book origin story, a bit in the style of Batman Begins, where he's not just going straight out in the red leather devil type costume. It's much more like, it looks like Zorro kind of thing. So it is very much him going from vigilante to becoming Daredevil. He didn't just start off as a devil, or devil wannabe, I should say. So I'm quite looking forward to it.
Just that bit there, the kind of scenery looked very, whilst it was obviously filmed, it looked very comic-y, didn't it? Some definite comic-y themes going on. What do we think about the main villain? What do we think the main villain's going to be? Or is it going to be like a TV show?
Yeah, it's Kingpin.
Is it definitely going to be Kingpin, or are they going to build up to him?
It depends. It's probably the standard for these kind of shows is that you start off with a bunch of little villains and then hint towards one big villain at the end, and then it becomes every other episode is something towards taking that guy down.
Yeah.
But then, is it going to be your standard different major villain each season, or are they going to make Kingpin a bit of a Lex Luthor in Smallville and have him kind of there throughout,
Or are they going to do what the Ben Affleck movie did, and they just have him there since the very beginning?
Yeah.
He's got to be present, doesn't he? But whether he can be that,
he's like a major crime lord inside Devil's Kitchen, though. So they'll probably have hints to him from quite early on.
They presumably will have to. Yeah. Bullseye. Do you reckon we're going to see a Bullseye?
I hope.
Got to see a Bullseye.
Have to see Bullseye.
But straight away.
Nah.
No, because I kind of like Bullseye as being one of the last guys that Kingpin sends out after him.
Yeah.
I think for the early bits, especially the first season, it's going to be very Arrow-esque. It's mainly going to be him taking down gangsters and crime bosses, generic ones. I'm hoping that they're going to kind of get straight into it and be like, yep, superpowers, they're here. It's not just some blind guy who happens to have really good senses. He does have superpowers. Other villains have superpowers. Expect to see it.
Do you not think that they'll go the other direction and go?
I think they could, but
Batman-y?
I don't think they should restrict themselves with it.
It's difficult because people like us would really love to see the whole supervillain side done to it, but a lot of people prefer the fact that it's a lot more realistic and gritty, and it looks like it's going to be just brutal.
Arrow's done quite well because obviously Arrow is in a world where superpowers exist because it's in the same world as Flash.
Yeah.
But they've still managed to make it gritty, and one of his main villains throughout has been a drug dealer, which that is dark, that is gritty, that's the kind of thing those people want to watch.
Yeah. Well, the thing with the Flash is that it's not really. It is superpowers, but it's not really superpowers because they're all people that have had things happen to them to get the powers, and they call it all that's all metahumans and things like that. They're kind of trying to focus on the science behind it a little bit.
Do we know if the new Supergirl series is going to be in the same universe?
Don't know. I don't personally know. I know the Vixen or...
Yeah, Vixen is.
Yeah.
But that's an animated series.
But it's still the same universe.
I have heard a rumor that it will be in the same. It possibly might be in the same universe as Lawrence and Clark, due to some of the similar.
Lois and Clark, you mean?
Lawrence and Clark.
Lawrence and Clark. I'm sorry.
Were you thinking of?
It's not Lois
Lawrence
and Clark.
Fishburne?
It's the New Adventures of Superman. They changed it to Lois and Clark much later on because what's her name, Terry Hatcher or whatever, wanted more money and wanted more recognition. It's the New Adventures of Superman. Dean Cain.
Are you Dean Cain Cain crushing right
Dean
now?
Cain, the 5'10" Superman.
I loved it.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to into the actual news. Away from Marvel, we're now going into Dumbo. For Tim Burton is going to be doing a live-action Dumbo film.
Yeah, I have heard this. This seems weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not just joking here. This is a legitimate thing which is going to be happening by Disney to make a live-action version of the animated classics. They was recently done it with Maleficent, Cinderella, and Beauty and the Beast. They're now going to be doing it with Dumbo.
Have you heard who's playing the little mouse? You know, his little mouse companion. The one in his hat there.
Oh.
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp's just in everything, isn't he?
I actually have
no
idea about that. I'm just assuming.
Probably.
What, Tim Burton?
It won't be Helena Bonham Carter because of the breakup.
Well, you never know. Yeah. It's I don't know. When you say live action, presumably you mean like an genuinely filmed thing with elements of CGI.
Obviously, no.
Yeah,
they're going to get a real elephant.
No, I know.
Fly.
I know it's going to be CGI, but why? Why are you making Dumbo live action? Why? I'm happy to watch a new, updated, animated Dumbo rather than making it live action. I just think that making it live action is going to make Dumbo look terrible. It's not going to look good, is it?
No.
What do you think?
I just don't think it needs it at all. No. I don't think it needs an updated animation. I don't think it needs digitally remastering. I don't think it needs a live-action version. It's a beautiful, amazing film that gave me nightmares when I was a kid. The whole hallucinating pink elephants bit. What was that? That was just like, oh, we didn't scare you enough with Fantasia. Have some pink drunk elephants going around killing each other. Amazing film, though.
Creepy.
Anyway, you know, the crows. You know, that's good old-fashioned family racism right there. Can't get away with that anymore.
Just gonna give a few you now shout-outs real quick.
Yeah.
To Missy. Oh my God, it's J-To. Hello, Lee1547. There's a face. I've got to do the face. That's my face.
Jeffy Jeff, the Greninja Jolly Jeff.
Wow, that is a name.
That is a name.
Jeffrey Jeff, the Greninja Jolly Jeff. That's excellent.
That's an awesome name.
There we go.
Yeah, moving on to the next story, we have Tron 3 will be set to start filming this October.
Wait, they did Tron 2?
Well, I think they're saying Tron Legacy counts as Tron 2 because
it
was a sequel.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So this would technically be Tron 3.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
With the same guys in it?
About to get into that, there's no word about if Bridges is going to return or Olivia Wilde, who played Claire. We've not had anything about cast yet, apart from that Garrett Lumher has been confirmed. He played Sam, he was Kevin's son, in the second film, so he's going to be back. We don't know about any other cast members. But yeah, this film, which will be starting to be shot in Vancouver in October 5th, which is quite soon, actually, because the fact is we had recently the Tron Uprising animated series, which was cancelled, but then they sort of have thrown Tron 3 at us.
How did Tron Legacy do? You should have been like... how did Tron Legacy do, like, in the cinema? I haven't seen it, I confess.
It wasn't a bad movie.
It just wasn't a great one, to be honest.
The reason I'm like that is because I'm surprised they're making this film.
The visuals were great.
The visuals were good.
But, you know, they were maybe on a par with stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, it wasn't the huge blockbuster visual masterpiece that the original Tron was.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, the thing with the original Tron is that was like the first film where you ever saw any CGI in a movie.
Yeah.
It was terrible CGI. You know, it was proper like N64 type stuff, even pre-N64. But
NES.
it was something no one had ever seen before. This was visually very good, but I think it was shown up by films like Avatar that were out around the same time.
Yeah. Okay. Any more TV and film news?
We have two very quick news stories, which I have to mention, which are Disney-related for film, before we go into TV. We have the announcement that Incredibles 2 will be hitting theatres in summer 2016.
Can't wait for that.
After 10 years since we had the last movie, we will now finally have been announced that there will be a an Incredibles 2 coming out.
Is it a sequel?
It is a sequel.
Okay.
We have a little bit of story information related to it. According to information, the sequel will be about Mr. and Mrs. Incredible have decided not to be so active with their superhero crime-fighting ways and allow their two teenagers, Violet and Dash, to do most of the work. So,
What about the baby? How old's the baby?
we're about
now?
to get onto the baby. He's now 6.
6?
So
Not really a baby.
No. The two now considered the greatest superhero in the world, while they're focused now on rearing in their now 6-year-old, which is Jack, whose superpower abilities challenge faces. Basically, do you remember how at the end of the film he was...
He's the Human Torch, isn't he?
Yeah, he's insane.
Well, he can turn his body into like pretty much anything. He's like metal, fire,
now
whatever.
his parents have realised this and are now having to face the issues related to it. So it sounds like an interesting film.
Dash
only
was-
took him 5 years to realise it.
Yeah.
Dash was the Flash, basically.
Dash with the Flash.
And Violet was...
The Invisible Girl from Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Yeah. While her mother was Reed Richards.
And the father was just
Any
Strong.
generic.
Captain Strong.
Captain Strong.
Yeah, okay.
Throwing motorbikes at cars.
And another very quick Pixar news. We have a little bit of information related to Toy Story 4, actually. That it as possibly will be a romantic comedy.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Yeah.
Toy Story just... After one...
My worry is that if you take a film like Toy Story and make it into a romantic comedy, is it going to be about sex toys?
Yeah. Blow up dolls.
Is this going to be like Toy Story meets 50 Shades of Grey?
No. What we've had a quote from Pixar. I don't know who it was originally from, but it said, "It will be a love story. It will be a romantic comedy, but it will not put much focus on the interaction between the character and the children. It's just going to be a very good movie."
The best thing is, as well, is if it was about sex toys, they wouldn't even have to change the characters' names.
Yeah.
Because you've got Woody and Buzz.
Exactly, yeah.
It writes itself.
It does.
Yeah, so
kind
Toy
of,
Story
doesn't
4
it?
is expected to get a release on June 16th, 2017. So 3 years
Probably
from now.
won't watch it, I won't lie. Unless it is, as we discussed, about sex toys.
Yeah.
In which case I will.
I love Toy Story 3.
I didn't.
Really?
I like
the idea that Andy was the same kid from way back. I like that idea. But
I just...
the fact that they got the original
I
kid who
thought
played
the film
Andy
was
to
great.
play Andy.
Yeah, I thought Toy Story 3 was great.
I
I
liked
actually think Toy Story it's easily in my top 10 favourite trilogies.
2? What about 2?
Two
was
is the
alright.
letdown, but I think 1 and 3 make up for it.
1 is incredible.
One's
One was
great. 2's alright. 3 is...
3
a
I thought was
phenomenon.
brilliant.
I didn't think they should make a 4th. I think they could have just left it with the 3. The
Yeah.
ending to 3 was...
Didn't they
decent
bring out
ending.
one as well that was, I don't know, Toy Story Haunted House or something?
Oh, they've
like
done
that?
No,
a
they have,
load of
specials.
shorts and stuff.
There's like some specials with Sky, but they aren't kind of films. They're just little skits. And then 2 last movie-related information. 1, we have the announcement of Sharknado 3.
I'm excited about this, guys.
Yeah, Sci-Fi's latest Sharknado will touch down on Wednesday, the 22nd of July. And the name is incredible. The film is now going to be called Sharknado 3. Oh, hell no!
Yeah. That is what it's called.
Yeah.
That's literally what it's
I
called.
was disappointed by Sharknado 2.
I haven't seen it.
I really enjoyed Sharknado 1, but I feel Sharknado 2 was a bit contrived.
It's a bit too up itself,
Which is
wasn't
a
it?
very strange way of describing it, but it's like they had something brilliant with Sharknado, didn't realise it, then got this crazy cult following, tried to replicate it, and it didn't quite work.
Yeah.
So we'll see how Sharknado 3 comes about.
I haven't seen 2.
Sharknado 1 is worth watching for the moment where he dives into a shark with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
That's just worth it for that.
The science in that film didn't make any sense, but okay.
I don't feel that I can actually spoil anything by saying what happens.
No, it doesn't matter. Yeah. I'm going to leave that until the end of the section because, well, it would be a good segue into comics. Not comics, into gaming, sorry. So we're going to quickly into TV with information about the Walking Dead spin-off.
Yeah, this is going to be... I see what they're doing, but... Well, you talk about it.
So the Walking Dead spin-off will be a part prequel, but have nothing to do with the comics whatsoever, and has also been ordered for 2 seasons. Robert Kirkman has stated that the upcoming Walking Dead spin-off will not only be a completely different story to the original show and the comics, but it will also be a true time progression, meaning that it will start up as a prequel.
Ooh.
But will have nothing to do near the area where the current show is based, but it will be inside of this zombie-filled world.
I think they should just set it like in the middle of Australia or something.
Yeah, I wanted it to be
like right in the outback where
I believe
it's like for the first 6 seasons they don't actually know there's been a zombie outbreak.
Yeah, I want it to be in a different country.
I believe it's been spaced in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
So
the opposite,
it's the opposite coast.
side of the country,
Yeah.
because the majority of this is in Georgia and DC, isn't it?
Yeah, we've had a quick quote actually from Robert Kirkman himself, which is saying, from the beginning of the show, one thing we've heard is what's going on in the rest of the country. So the intent of the new show is to expand the world and show another corner of the US and what's happening there. The time is taking place a bit earlier than the original show. Rick Grimes has woken up from a coma, but, oh, man, zombies are weird. I don't know why he said that. That's there. We're going to be possible to see what unfolds a little more than in this other show, and we wouldn't call it a prequel because the entirety of the show will not take place anywhere inside the Walking Dead timeline, so it won't affect the story of the actual current show. But eventually they will cross paths eventually, so they will catch up with the current timeline. So that's coming out later this year, actually. Comes out this summer, season 1, and then season 2 will come out next year.
Do we know what it's going to be called? Is it just going to be called The Walking Dead again?
It had a name, actually, which was announced
The Roamers. The Roaming Dead. They should do that.
They should.
Yeah.
I had it written down, actually. I'm just trying to find the actual copy. I think it was something called like The Walking Dead, and then it had like The Other Walking Dead or something like that. It had like a one-word change in the title.
Be like CSI, The Walking Dead, LA.
Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The problem is I don't think they should do it in like the UK because we've got Shaun of the Dead for that. And Shaun of the Dead encapsulates perfectly a British zombie apocalypse.
That's how the British would deal with it.
Yeah.
Hit him over the head with cricket bats and head to the pub.
Head to the pub, yeah. That is
just wait for it all to blow over.
They nailed it with Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
But I think they should go somewhere like... It'd be epic to see it in like New Zealand, wouldn't it? All these roaming, beautiful hillsides with zombies just staggering around them.
The problem is they've already done that with Black Sheep.
Yeah. We have the name. It's called Fear the Walking Dead.
Fear the Walking Dead.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Right, that's good.
Yeah.
So that's TV. We're going to very quickly move back to comics.
Wasn't there another bit of TV news?
There was just one TV news.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
So, Callum, you've obviously said you're not a fan.
See, I really like the premise. I really want to like this film. It looks really good in some perspectives. But I don't like members of the cast.
My main issue with it is that this film has already been done in an episode of Futurama.
Yeah! It's a Futurama, and it's also been a YouTube video by Corridor Digital, which did
I
very
saw
well.
that. That was really good as well. Yeah, it's been done.
So, if we're gonna judge a movie on stuff that's been done, then
but it's not that.
Every sequel's out the window, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I know. It's just I didn't see much there that was different from what I'd seen, for example, in that episode of Futurama.
The problem is, there's much better video games you could call upon if you want to destroy the world, aren't there?
Like?
Well, asteroids.
Yeah.
Well, they did have Space Invaders.
Yeah. But really, all I saw there was Pac-Man, Space Invaders,
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong's good.
It might be that there will be more in the actual film. This was the first trailer.
Yeah.
So, and obviously there's going to be a limit to what games they can have on there because of the time the capsule was sent off.
Oh yeah.
82.
And licensing and things like that, presumably.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I wanted to like this film when I heard about it, but it's just there's little bits in this trailer and how it's been presented. It's making me feel a bit worried.
Its competition really is Wreck-It Ralph. isn't it?
Yeah. And that's not good, because Wreck-It Ralph was a good movie.
I know they are different, but this competition is in Wreck-It Ralph, and I think Wreck-It Ralph was awesome.
Yeah.
Really.
So,
That's a good segue.
yep, let's use that segue. Let's move into our next section, which is video games.
Video game.
Another image by yours truly.
I'm just going to say hello to Hugo on just really quickly. Hello, Hugo.
Hugo.
Hello, Hugo.
See that hand?
Yeah, so we have 4 quick stories in this segment. So first of all, some news recently that the Turkish government may ban Minecraft for being too violent. Yeah, okay. So apparently, we can admit that Minecraft isn't the most peaceful game.
It is pretty violent. I mean,
In
you
some
can
aspect, yeah.
you can literally dismantle people's houses.
Seriously. But however, the Turkish Family and Social Policy Ministry thinks that it is very violent and is even submitting a thing to the government to actually get the game banned.
Good. Okay, fair enough.
So the reason why they put this is here. Although the game can be seen as encouraging creativity in children to let them build houses, farmland and bridges, mobs must be killed in order to protect these structures. In short, the game is based on violence, is what they have as their official reasoning.
Okay, but have they banned games like Call of Duty?
I don't know.
These kind of
actually.
things. Where does it stop? Minecraft is a very bizarre place to. I don't know. We don't know how many games they've banned, but it seems like a very bizarre.
I think
place to ban
it's
games.
only because it's a child game, and it was actually in the Ministry of Family and Social Policies. So possibly it's not. I think it's like a 3 or a 7 on its age rating.
I saw something Minecraft related the other day that I thought you would have liked. Someone on Minecraft has created like the entire city in Attack on Titan.
Yes.
Which is amazing. It's even got a colossal titan there kicking down one of the walls. It looks incredible,
does
the
look so
amount
good.
of work that they've put into it.
People go crazy on that.
Yeah. I still think we should get on there and make our own Kanto region.
Yeah, we should.
Someone's already done it, man. Someone's
we
already done it.
We need to do it, and we need to have it so then we would all have our own. There's a Pokemob mod where you can actually have Pokemon. We should just have our own little server.
Or we could put that effort into getting real jobs. I don't know. I'm just saying.
We have jobs.
What? Who am I kidding? No, let's do this.
Let's do this. Yeah, anyway, moving on to some... We've been keeping up recently with Arkham Knight news because we have a big fan of the stories. It has earned a mature rating recently.
Good.
I'm going to allow you to read the rating summary, which is here and continues on to the next page.
Right here.
Yeah, just read that.
This is an action-adventure game in which players primarily assume the role of Batman. Primarily. Sounds like we might get a good Catwomaning coming out again. Good. As he battles several villains spreading chaos across Gotham City, rather. Players traverse a variety of locations around Gotham while battling thugs, examining crime scenes, and occasionally rescuing hostages. This is all just, we know this from City, Origins, Asylum. Players engage in melee-style combat using punches, kicks, and gadgets. I like that they had to tell us what melee-style combat was. Punches and kicks. Well done. E.g. batarangs, explosives. Enemies cry out in pain when struck, and some takedowns are highlighted by brief slow-motion effects and loud impact sounds. Nothing that we don't already know. Some sequences allow players to use tank-like vehicles, now this is new, with machine gun turrets and rockets to shoot enemies. A vehicle's wheels are also used to torture an enemy in one sequence. Whoa! That's kicked off. I know he dangles people off buildings and stuff like that, and I know some of the takedowns he uses are particularly mean. But wow, torture using the Batmobile wheel. That's crazy. That's crazy. Cutscenes depict characters getting shot on and off camera while restrained or unarmed. Large bloodstains / pools of blood appear in crime scenes, and in the aftermath of violent acts, one room depicts a person torturing a character on a bloody operating table. Hush! That's got to be Hush. That's got to be Hush. Throwing that out there.
They continue on to the next page.
During the course of the game, players can shoot unarmed characters and a hostage. Why, you Batman? Neon signs in a red light district read live nude girls and XXX. The word, cover your ears, bitch and gobshite. Is this why you wanted me to read it? And ass appear in the dialogue. Now, what he's done in the script here is he's actually starred it out. So I know what the word is, but he hasn't actually
No,
written
it wasn't me that wrote that. That's the official copy from the report.
I'm assuming so. It could be batch, gobshoot, and ans. Could be.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure that's what they're yelling.
The big thing about that is that massive bit there about that surgery.
There's some torture going on.
And torture. So it's going to be fun. Looking forward to torture.
Callum talking about torture. Yeah.
It's been done, though. I mean, the Punisher video game on PS2, that had torture in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could actually have a guy, gored to death by a rhino. Genuinely. That was one of the methods of torture on it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Right.
One last big news. Well, I'm very excited about this. Nintendo are planning to embrace smartphone gaming.
Finally.
Yes, Nintendo have announced that they are partnering up with a Japanese mobile gaming company called Dena, spelled D-E-N-A, to produce a line of games for smartphones. Mario's Nintendo's most recognizable character and informal mascot will be appearing in a game, according to a journal. The alliance will be intended to complement Nintendo's dedicated video game system business and expand Nintendo's reach into the vast market of smart device users worldwide. The game will create original titles and specifically for the smartphone rather than existing titles designed for other hardware platforms.
I think the big one that people are going to enjoy about this is all the retro games, really, isn't it?
Mm.
But then again, there's already so many emulators out there and things like that for Pokemon, for Zelda on your smartphone that you can go and get real easily. So I think they're a bit late to this party, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because they're obviously going to start charging. So I think they're going to have to bring out new titles specifically for the iPhone and smartphones, aren't they? Really?
Yeah.
It's going to be cool though.
Expect to see Mario Kart 12 on smartphones.
Yeah, but I mean, even the problem with that is that, there's an Angry Birds version of Mario Kart that is free.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to really do something to get that market.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
In-app purchases may be free.
James is having a little bit of fun inside the YouNow chat right now. Aren't you, James?
He loves it. He loves it.
Yeah, so that's all of the news for those two segments.
Is that the gaming
That's
news?
all gaming.
Can I talk a little bit... What time are we on? Oh, we got time. Can I talk a little bit about Monster Hunter?
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
So I've got Monster Hunter 4. Anybody who's considering getting Monster Hunter 4, I have seen a enormous amount of good reviews and good press and all that kind of thing about Monster Hunter 4. I've not massively been as enthusiastic about it.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
I got it. I played it for a couple of hours and was like, I'm going to play Pokemon for a bit.
Yeah.
I've not picked it up in about 2 weeks.
I have kind of gone back to it a couple of times, but I've kind of forced myself to.
I mean, as I say, I've heard really good things about it, and if anyone watching has a Street Pass group in their local city, it's worth getting into because they do events every week, like Monster Hunter events. I know Reading and Oxford do. I think some of the others are planning on doing it as well.
I think it's something that we're just going to have to kind of power through to the point where we get to the enjoyable meat and veg content.
Yeah.
One of the problems I had is they struck you with a lot of information very quickly.
They really do, don't they?
Yeah.
And they don't give you as much of a chance. A good game tutorial should be throw you into a level and then every now and then give you a new piece of information to do with it. With this, it was just this guy chatting for ages, telling you how to do all this stuff. It's like, right now, go off and do a mission. Mm-hmm. It's like, what? I don't even know how to draw my sword. I think they messed up there. But I think one of the problems they went with for it was being Monster Hunter 4 and the previous Monster Hunters being so popular. I think they were assuming pretty much everyone who was buying it were people who'd played it before.
Yeah.
Which you should never make that assumption.
I mean, I wouldn't say that I didn't enjoy it. I wouldn't say that it's a bad game or anything like that. Are you playing it on your 3DS?
Yeah.
Are you struggling with the lack of the little C button?
Yeah. I've got myself the new 3DS XL for my birthday. This thing, when you're playing with, especially Majora's Mask, comes a lot in handy, and I would assume it would be very similar.
I mean, I completed Majora's Mask without that, and I didn't miss it at all. I'm not having too much trouble without it. I'm just basically, using the touch screen to do that kind of stuff. But I
my
could see how it would
3DS
help.
is quite small.
Yeah,
But,
I could see that being a disadvantage.
I'm not massively struggling with it. I just feel that there could have been a more elegant way of doing it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just doing the looking around and the controls and things like that. But there you are. That's just my opinion. I am going to stick with it, and I'm going to try and get later, and I could prove myself wrong. I have done that plenty of times. Like, for example, Arkham Asylum, when I first played Arkham Asylum, did my head in. Did my head in, because I think it was just the mindset I was in. I really wanted to get in and I wanted to play the game, but Arkham Asylum takes a while to get into because you watch that enormous cutscene. Yeah. And then I powered on through that, and I was really happy with it. There have been a few games like that, so I'm going to give it a go. But
yeah, maybe we'll get to the point where on one of the shows, we can go after one of those big monsters together, the three of us.
That'd be
what
cool.
weapon did you go for?
I don't know. I just had a sword at the beginning of the game.
I just stuck with it.
At the moment, yeah. As I say, I've done about 2 hours on it.
I went and got a bow, and I'm not the biggest fan of bows.
No.
Because I was assuming I could just be like going, running away and firing. It's not that easy.
No.
But
I haven't got a copy yet. I need to at some point. Just have a copy if we want to do stuff with it. But yeah, that's that.
So that's the gaming section.
Yeah.
Shall we play a song?
Yeah, we're going to play a quick song now, and then we're going to move on to Callum's anime recommendation, so stay tuned for that. If you want to get in touch with us, you can tweet us at Nerdemic Show, email us radio@onlineradiobroadcasting.com, or we are broadcasting on YouNow under hashtag Nerd, and we can see all your comments coming up live as they go.
Welcome back.
So, we are now going into the anime section, which I'll get onto as soon as I find my mouse cursor.
There we go.
Anime!
Anime study show.
Look at these images. Whoever made these must have been a genius.
Yourself, man.
So, what have we got for the anime section this
Anime
week?
section, but we have actually, for once, we don't normally get some news a lot with the anime section. We actually have some big news to put in here. For months, we've heard about this Attack on Titan live-action remake, but we only saw posters, which were a little bit... Well, they were awesome posters, but they were just posters. But we now have got an actual trailer to watch.
Yeah.
This was premiered on a Japanese entertainment reality show called VIP. So we're going to have it... What we always get when we watch Japanese trailers like this, watching people... watch what you're watching, making reactions in the corner.
Okay, let's have a look.
Let's watch it. Let's cut that. We're going to cut it there. But yeah, that looks cool.
I'm so hyped for this. I only have one problem with it.
What's that?
The fact that they've... I do have a reason for this, right?
Of course.
The fact that they've gone with an entirely Japanese cast for it. Because there is such a thing made out of the fact that in Attack on Titan, Mika-san is the only Asian, in the world. She's the last one alive. Her family managed to make it to the city, just as, the walls go up and stuff like that. It's one of the things that makes her such a unique and brilliant character on it, especially when animes, usually focus around Japanese characters. The fact that all the other characters we know are actually meant to be Caucasian.
Yeah, that does take away a little bit. Also, there was a picture recently, I couldn't tell if it was a fan art or if it was, because I saw it when I was looking at official pictures for characters. It had the scientist from the Survey Corps holding a bazooka.
Right.
And I was like, okay, hopefully this is fake, but it looked in the same style as they had the pictures of Alien and Mikasa and the rest of the team. So I can't tell. Because that'd be interesting. She's mad anyway, but don't you get it for an RPG, and then things are going to get weirder.
I think it'd be great. We don't have it on the show tonight, but there is an advert for a car.
Yes!
Where they've used Titans for that, and that is brilliant. It's basically someone driving down a road whilst being chased by Titans. If you're a fan of Attack on Titan, get on that.
I think we should put it on. We'll put it on the Facebook.
Wait till after 10 o'clock though, because we'll still be broadcasting. Yeah. Till then.
Stay here until 10. Anyway, we're moving on to my actual anime recommendation this week, which is Another. Yeah, it's just called Another. There is no fancy Japanese name. Just Another. It's a 12-episode anime in the genres of mystery, horror, school, where most animes are set nowadays, and thriller. There are 24 minutes per episode over the course of 12 episodes. So I'm going to get you to read this little bit of synopsis. I'm going to quickly say Kiyoshi Yamahama Mimasaki.
Okay.
It'll be a Japanese name for you, just so you can actually read.
Kyoichi has come to the town of Yamayama from Tokyo for his 9th grade year while his father does research in India. He has a chronic lung condition which prevents him from beginning the school year as a member of Year 3, Class 3, and when his classmates visit him in the hospital, something seems off. He soon meets a strange and mysterious girl named Misaki. May Misaki, that's what I said.
No.
Who appears to be part of Class 3-3. But no one will acknowledge her existence. When Kyoichi hears rumors of a curse on his class and people start dying, he knows there's something more going on than meets the eye. What is the secret of Class 3-3? Why are people connected with the class dying? And more importantly, is there any way to stop it?
Yes. So this entire of the school's, this curse is all based around this little backstory that we get in the very first 10 minutes of the episode, where basically what happened is that in the same class, which is Year 3, Class 3, back in 1978, there was a student called I think it was May, with the character's name. He was very popular in the class, and he died quite young. And apparently, everywhere he died, everyone was sad. Normal thing when a student dies. But then what happened is the class started to see him. They kept having this act is that, oh no, he's not dead. He's there. He's sitting in his chair. And there's actually one of the pictures of the actual class yearbook at the end of the school year, which, if you look very carefully, you can see this dead child in the picture. And the entire curse is about the fact is ever since that year, there has been one dead person per class, and if they're in that class, then people are gonna die. And people do die in this show. This is one of those shows that you can have a bet of which character's gonna die. Take away Kiyoshi, because he's the lead, and take away Mikasa, but the rest of them, fair game. You can choose. So yeah, as I previously mentioned, the town is this very old, grimy, full-of abandoned appearance, which made it remind brain of blood, and the setting is quite distant. The rooms in the old school building are very different to the ones in the new one, which shows clear research and conduct. As the show is actually based in 1998. But it is one of those things where the main reason to keep coming back every episode is for two things. One, the mystery about who is the extra student. Because there are 26 seats in the classroom, but there's only meant to be 25 students in this year. Which means one person is an extra student, and because of that causes the mystery thing connects with the deaths. That's the basis of the mythos for this show. But there's some fun deaths. If we move forward a couple of pictures to the next one, please.
Can't.
You can't.
Sorry, the computer's currently in use. We're having some trouble with you now at the moment, so...
He's like, I'll be down on you now.
Oh, so we've got it up now.
Alright, yeah. So this is that school picture I talked to you about a moment ago. If we move forward one more time to some of the deaths, I believe. Yeah, so the classroom itself... Hello, Crick. Yeah, I said hello, Rick.
Certainly didn't.
Did I not?
Definitely said crick.
Hello, Rick. Yeah, so the classroom is very odd. And the fact is, yeah, there's the one child in that no one notices. The rest of the class are very distant towards this new member. And then when things start going downhill, when people start to die, then we have some more issues. And these people don't just die normally. They die in some fun ways. If we can move on to the next image, I would like to represent this, but I'm going to leave... Me? Yeah, oh, there we go. That's one death. A girl trips down the stairs with an umbrella. Umbrella opens, and that happens. Another one of these many of the deaths is this one here. A character I will not name gets a knife out in the middle of the class and slits his throat.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a gruesome show.
Lovely.
It is a very dark anime, but that's what...
I'm a huge fan of everyone's reaction.
There's some fun reactions there. Some of them are just sitting there. Others are hiding from the blood. And there's a couple of them at the back, which have obviously just been poorly animated, which just don't move.
There's that guy on the far right. His reaction, all that is, dude, this is a new shirt. Come on, man.
The chick at the front is just not phased.
Actually, I'm wrong. He doesn't slit his throat. He stabs it into his neck and then slits it.
Right.
So it's a proper forced in and then cut it to the side.
Oh.
It's a very gruesome show. And that's what the major mystery is about it, is why are these deaths happening?
So I just have to stop you a second and say we were having some trouble with you now. So for anyone who's only just come back, this recommendation is for an anime called Another.
Yeah, I'll go over a little bit for people who are missed. So it's based around a school in a town called Yamagachi. Follows a character called Kiyoshi in the class in 9th grade called Year 3, Class 3, where there is apparently a curse on the class where if there is one extra student in that class, people were going to die. And the main mystery of this story is actually which character is this extra student. Because the extra student is just not an extra guy who joined the class. This is a dead person who has died at some point before this year group, who is just in the class roster.
Right.
It's a weird show.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but then again, it is a horror mystery, so it has that aspect of it can go into a bit of supernatural. It's not combined to the essence of real day. But overall, it's a fun show. It got a decent story. The ending is a little bit lackluster after a big, massive build-up in the last couple episodes leading up to it. But the animation and art are brilliant. The music is quite good as well. But overall, it's an anime with a lot of imagery, which is quite gruesome. So if you're not up to blood, it's not an anime for you. But
Animated blood?
yeah, but it's decent animated blood, and it is an entire scene where you actually get, as I previously shown, the umbrella death, where a girl trips down the stairs with an umbrella, umbrella opens, umbrella top gets through her neck.
Wow. Lovely.
Yeah, so overall, if I'm sticking with my grading system where I've done the rest of the shows in, I'm going to give this a B-. It's a fun show. It's a good one to have a murder mystery around and follow the characters. But if you're not into that style of show of having to work out who it would be, or that style of gruesome deaths to random characters at random points, then it could bring you out of it a little bit. But overall, I enjoyed it. It's my style of anime in the perspective. It's only 12 episodes long, so you could, if you wanted to, get it over and done within 2 days. It's not on Netflix, so you will have to go on to streaming sites like Watch Anime Online or Dub Crazy, but it has got a dub and it has got a English sub as well, so it's fully practical for any English watchers. So yeah, that's this week's review.
Great.
Cool. Awesome. Now,
so is that it for anime?
Yeah, that's anime done.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is we go into another quick song while we set up for the quiz.
The quiz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, why not? Yeah.
Anyone who's never taken part in our quiz before, it's very simple. Each week, Rick, Callum, and I take it in turns to do a quiz based on the latest, geeky stuff. We try to keep it relevant whenever possible.
I try to keep this one quite relevant to this week's show.
It rarely is, let's be honest. 10 questions, yeah?
Yep, 10 questions. And
So
a
10
tiebreaker.
questions and a tiebreaker, just in case Rick and I end up tying. You guys can play at home. You can tweet in your answers to us at Nerdemic Show, or you can post them up on YouNow and see if you can beat us in the studio. It's not hard.
It's really not. If you get higher than 4.
Yeah.
Oh, just everybody should really appreciate the clarinet. That's
Oh, God. Kieran just had a little freak out, but
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not happy. So not happy.
No.
I don't know what.
So we're all back in the
Do
studio.
you want to tell everyone why I'm not happy,
Yeah.
Rick?
You're not happy because I haven't changed one name on one outdated advert, okay?
We have the Pokemon advert.
Or on any of
where-
the animations?
Or on any of the animations.
We don't even have animation for this show, and this show
I miss him, okay?
I see how it is.
From now on, Kieran, every time the advert comes up on the show, we'll go out of live, say Kieran where it says Nate, and then go back into the advert.
Probably won't work that well.
Yeah, no, that won't work.
I know, but let's go on. Anyway,
I can live in hope.
Hugo apparently misses him too.
miss him.
To you now.
Oh,
Anyway,
whatever, Hugo.
Anyway.
What do you know?
Let's move on to the quiz. So, anyone who hasn't seen the show before, quiz is a standard 10-question quiz where these two are on the opposite side with a piece of paper and a pen in front of them, and I have 10 questions in my hand. They answer the questions. Simples.
You can play at home. If you're watching on now, just throw up your answers on the comment section.
Yes, I will mark them like a teacher.
Or you can tweet in at Nerdemic Show with your answers.
Or you can wait until I give out the answer at the end and send in your scores.
Yeah.
We can compare your funny scores to how...
Let's do that. We'll trust you. We'll trust you.
We always do.
I don't.
It's not like there are prizes.
No, you get
Accolade.
You get an accolade. You get a smile. Smile.
All of these are worth it.
So the thing I'm loving about this week's quiz is that Rick and I, we've got nothing to lose. Because we both know we're secure in not having to do the forfeit at the end.
I still want to beat you, though.
Yeah, well, after that, Nate
so
fiasco,
when are we actually doing this? It would be at the end
Next
of
week?
February.
Next week?
To be next week's show.
Yeah, we're gonna wait till like a really cold day and make you do a nice bucket challenge or something.
Yeah, why not? Why
Okay.
not?
So,
yes. Anyway,
let's
moving
do
on.
this.
Let's move on to the quiz. So, question number 1.
It's a good place to start.
Yes, it's a maths question.
Oh,
We love our maths questions here.
leave the maths questions alone.
No, my favourite type of questions.
Go on then.
So Pokemon introduced in Generation 4,
No.
plus founder Avengers from the movie, divided by pieces of the Triforce.
Wait, sorry.
So the
Pokemon-
so Pokemon introduced, so first time ever seen in a Pokemon game in Generation 4, plus the amount of founding Avengers in the 2012 Avengers movie, divided by pieces of the Triforce from Legend of Zelda. So you should be doing a number plus another number
I've really
divided by a
these
third number.
generations because they keep
So
coming
what was the middle one?
Founder Avengers in the film.
So founder Avengers in the film.
Yeah, so the 2012 Marvel Studios movie, how many Avengers...
We're not counting like Nick Fury.
Well,
or
no, we're
anyone.
counting actual, like,
Superheroes.
superheroes.
Okay.
The main group.
And what was the actual?
So it's Pokemon Gen 4 plus Founders Avengers in film divided by pieces of the Triforce.
Right.
So that's question number 1. Question number 2.
Hey, to be clear,
Yeah.
I'm going to shut my DS now, so I cannot be accused of cheating. Okay.
Okay. So question number 2. In the Walking Dead TV show, what is written on the side of the truck which Glenn and Rick steal in Season 1? So if you remember back in Season 1, they stole that big moving truck during that big scene in Episode 2 to get to the camp where we then have the rest of the team when we first get introduced to them. They stole a moving van, but what was on the... Not a moving van, sorry, they had a truck. What was on the side of this truck? There's not a moving van whatsoever, actually, looking at even at the answer. So don't... Yeah, so that's just me. It was a big moving van styled lorry truck. Well, what was on the side? Question number 3. How many Pixar films have been released so far? So we're not including the new films which will be coming out later this year or etc. We're talking about films which have come out from today backwards.
Can I just ask, question 1,
Yeah.
is it a solid number? Or...
Solid number.
Oh, God, I'm way off.
It is a solid normal number that you could get doing mental maths.
If it was a number I could do using mental maths, there would not be a dividing point in it.
Yeah, so that is question number 3. Question number 4, we have an anagram question. God, I love my anagram questions. Rear Glen Rent. Find the superhero from Rear Glen Rent.
Could you spell that for us?
Near.
Near? I thought you said rear.
It's a Near Glen Rent.
Well, okay.
You said
spell it.
rear.
Near
Yeah.
Glenrent.
Okay.
Sorry, what was the
I
last
got
bit?
Rear Glen Rent.
Rear
Oh,
Glen
right.
Rent.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was me being an idiot.
And what are we looking for here?
We are looking for a superhero. I'm not going to say which thing he's from. I'm just going to say he is a main star superhero.
It's a he.
Yeah, I've got that.
Hugo, you
Oh,
have
I've got it.
That is the correct spelling of the anagram on you now. Hugo, yes. So that's perfect.
I have got this anagram.
Question number 5. In the animated X-Men series, so the 90s show, in the episode Night of the Citadels, who did the X-Men leave for dead?
Sorry. Once more for me?
In the X-Men animated series,
Yeah.
in the episode Night of the Citadels, who did the X-Men leave for dead? So there is a character in that episode where the X-Men just leave him believing he's died. I will say he is a character, a X-Men member in the show. Just to help a little bit, so you just don't think it was a random civilian. Question number 6. I got this question based on watching a show before Pokemania a few weeks ago. It's a true or false question. True or false? The world record for the largest group dressed up as comic book / manga characters is 1,500. So it's 1,500 is the world record for the largest group dressed up as manga / comic book characters. Strictly those two.
Mm-hmm.
True or false?
I assume that's like an approximate number. That's not like the exact...
It's an approximate rounded number. But I'm not going to be mean and have it to be like number something something and 1. Question number 7. Which series was Nintendo's first worldwide success in the video game console market? So what was the very first series of games, it's not just a particular game itself, that Nintendo had its very first success in video games?
Do you mean specifically console, or were we talking arcade as well?
Well, it's mainly household gaming, but it does sort of linger into like handheld. But this is like home owned, not like arcades.
Okay.
So like with prior to the Game Boy area of handheld, and then like the NES era. So it's that early area of in-house. Question number 8. What is the English translation of the Japanese anime Higurashi Koda Kunani? I will spell that for you.
I don't think it'll help.
Wait, anyway,
Is it one we're likely to know?
if you know Japanese...
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Cheers for that.
And if you're a fan of animes, it's quite a popular anime in some perspectives, in a lot of the anime fan culture. I'll spell it for anybody who does want to know. It is Higurashi space NO space NAKU space KORO space NI. Higurashi Kano Kodokanani.
Yeah, I think I know it. I think that spelling really helped.
Question number 9. In Majora's Mask, what does the Mask of Truth do? So I am looking for the ability that this gives the character when you have this mask. And finally, question number 10. In Dragon Ball, how many basic levels of Super Saiyan are there? For anyone who's seen the show before, there are different levels of Super Saiyan.
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 I'm just saying, okay, sorry. Super Saiyan. What are they? How many are there? I'm not looking for specifics, I'm just looking for a number. So that's all 10 questions. I will run through them one more time for anybody who needs just to quickly go over their answers. And then you guys will swap. Question number 1. Maths question. Pokemon introduced in Gen 4 plus founding members of the Avengers in the film divided by pieces of the Triforce. Just a point, we will not. It's done by classic calculator style, so that done that, then doing that, not using any fancy bid maths or bod maths. So it's literally number plus the other number divided by the third number. Question number 2: in the Walking Dead TV show, what is written on the side of the truck that Glenn and Rick steal? Question number 3: how many Pixar films have been released so far? Question number 4: get the superhero from the anagram near Glen Rent. Question number 5. X-Men animated series. In the episode Night of the Citadels, who did the X-Men leave for dead? Question number 6. True or false? The world record for the largest group dressed up as strictly comic book / manga characters is 1,500. Question number 7. Which series of games was Nintendo's first worldwide success in the video game home market? Question number 8. What is the English translation for the Japanese anime Higurashi Kotokana ni? Question number 9. In Majora's Mask, what does the Mask of Truth do? And question number 10. In Dragon Ball, how many basic levels of Super Saiyan are there? I assume you guys have swapped your answers by your giggling?
Yeah.
Yep, so we're now going to run through some of the answers. So question number 1, which is the maths question. So Pokemon introduced in Gen 4 plus founder Avenger is in the film, divided by piece of the Triforce. What has Rick got, Kieran?
Rick's gone for 114 Pokemon, 6 Avengers, and what was the last one again?
Pieces of the Triforce.
3 pieces of the Triforce, for an answer of 40.
Kieran's gone with 120 Pokemon, 6 Avengers, 3 Triforce for 42.
So I'm going to go through the numbers for you. So Pokemon introduced in Generation 4 is 107. Newly introduced Pokemon. I've got this all from Bulbapedia, so don't...
Yeah. I'm just playing the game.
Plus the number of Avengers in the film, which is 6, which is Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, and Black Widow.
And Hawkeye.
Yeah, I'm just reading from my pipe. I put it as anagrams: Iron, CA, Hulk, Hawk, and Widow. So, yeah. And then divide that by a piece of the Triforce, which is 3, which will get you an answer of 38.
Are we going with whoever's closest?
We're going with whoever's closest, yes.
So that'll be Mr. Rick.
Yeah, that'll get you an answer of 38.
That's what I assume your name is. Rick.
Yeah.
In there, so question number 2. In the Walking Dead TV show, what is written on the side of the truck which Glenn and Rick steal? Kieran?
Rick has put for sale.
And
Kieran put a logo.
A logo.
I presumed it was going to be something like The Dead Are Walking or Get Out of Atlanta, but I thought it could be anything, so I'm just going to put
it's
for sale
actually,
down.
the correct answer, it's actually a little bit of an Easter egg. It's Friendrick Builders. Friendrick is the series developer and writer Frank Darabont, which is for the Friendrick, and then just Builders as in the generic job that we call a truck. So a little bit of trivia for you there. Frederick Builders.
Yeah, we were going to know that, weren't we?
No, I would have given you a point if you said something close to Builders.
Builders use logos.
Builders also
sell stuff. So yeah,
builders build houses. What do you do with a house? You sell it.
Yeah.
That was a quick question. I just need to think of something else to put there. Question number 3. How many Pixar films have ever been released so far?
Rick's gone with 18.
Kieran's gone with 10. I had an issue if I didn't know whether Shrek was Pixar or not.
Yeah, there are like 50 of them.
Yeah, so I thought go high or go home.
So I'm going to run through the
Does that
actual
get high or go
list first. This is the official list of films which are strictly made by Pixar, which to get your answer. Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, Bugs Life, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Cars 2, Ratatouille, WALL-E, Up, Brave, and Monsters University. So the answer will be...
What about is Big Hero 6 in there?
That's not Pixar. That's not
Disney,
Pixar.
yeah.
So that will give you an answer of 14.
So
we're both in the middle.
You're both in the middle.
It just hit right in the middle. No points.
No
No
points.
points, no points.
I would have given it to the closest, but you're dead on. There is no closest. You're both. It's the medium number between your answers.
Oh, well.
Question number 4. Find the superhero from the anagram Near Glen Rent.
You mean rear?
Near.
Near.
I spelt it for you as well.
Oh, yeah.
Which was
Okay.
Nera.
Rick's got Green Lantern.
Kieran's got Green Lantern.
It is Green Lantern.
The Green Lantern.
I think I'm going for the Flash, but I thought that'd be too easy for you guys.
Yeah.
What is Lash?
Lash isn't...
Lash.
The F is silent.
Yeah. So question number 5, animated X-Men series. In the episode Night of the Citadels, who did the X-Men leave for dead?
Rick's gone with Morph.
Kieran's gone with Cyclops.
It is Morph.
Yeah.
Well remembered.
Yeah, I did.
I believe he's a character which was created for the show.
I don't think he was really...
No,
He was in
he was in the comics.
Was he in the comic? Was he
Yeah.
in the comics prior to the show? He
Not
wasn't
sure.
a big. He wasn't a big character.
He's definitely been in the comics.
He wasn't
I've
that
seen
big a
him in
character in the show.
No, he was in 2 episodes. Then apparently got killed off, and then
Yeah.
apparently came back later.
there. Yeah.
He was basically Mystique.
True. Or,
Why couldn't it have been Jubilee?
No.
question number 6. True or false? The world record for the largest group of people dressed up as comic book / manga characters is 1,500.
Rick's gone with false.
Yeah, Kieran's gone with false. The reason I went for false is there's an enormous amount of Comic-Cons and stuff like that, and you presume it's larger than 1,500,
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
you would think that, but then I said strictly comic book / manga, so it is actually true.
What do you mean, strictly?
Meaning that everybody who was there was dressed up as somebody who was either a comic book hero or a main character in a comic book manga.
Yeah, I would have been certain that there would have been designated events that would have
This is
smashed
from
more
this
out.
is officially from.
Oh, I'm not.
the-
I'm not.
No, I'm just
Doubting you.
reading the adequate information I have here. The record is in China, where it was at the opening of the world's first anime-themed amusement park.
Fair enough.
So that is the. I was thinking that too when I found that out, and that's why I thought it'd be a good question. But apparently, they're very picky when it comes to comic book / manga characters.
Yeah.
So they probably counted your TV. We're going through Comic-Con, so that Comic-Con has got an award for best people cosplaying for San Diego, but that's not the question. Question number 7. It's a mean quiz. Question number 7. Which series of Nintendo's was Nintendo's first worldwide success?
Rick's gone with Donkey Kong.
So has Kieran.
It is actually the Game & Watch series. If
That
you
was
played,
the most... Okay.
apparently that was their first decent, big seller worldwide, because that came out before the NES.
Oh yeah, that's like
It's old.
way back in the day.
Yeah, I didn't know. I know that I read just today that in fact the reason that Pokemon exists is because Yoshi did so well.
Really?
Yeah, if it didn't, Nintendo weren't going to fund it. So weird,
Did well,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Question number. We can run through. We can get through these last few questions.
I've got this one.
Question number 8. What is the English translation for the Japanese anime Higakashi Kote Konani?
Oh no, I think Rick might have it actually.
There are 2 Obviously, because it's a translation. There are two possible things.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm fairly certain Rick's actually got this one.
What is it?
Heroes of the Moisture Caverns.
Yeah.
What is,
don't even bother
what's
reading
Kieran
mine.
for?
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but, come on.
The correct answer is either When They Cry
That was close.
or The Moment the Cadaras Cry.
That was close.
What was your answer, Rick?
Heroes of
So
the Moisture
close.
Cavern.
That's what she said.
In the Moisture Cavern. I think that's a different
I
anime.
think you've got this quiz, Rick.
Well, you've got 1 point. How many have I got? 2?
We're not there yet. We've got 2 more questions.
Maybe 3. Wow.
So question number 9. In Majora's Mask, what does the Mask of Truth do?
Rick's said, push boulders / strength.
And Kieran's gone with, lets you talk to dogs and statues.
Yeah, the correct... I'm going to give it to Kieran.
Obviously.
You didn't give me much time to write a full description. I would have gone into
Yeah,
more
but that's
detail.
perfect. That pretty much sums up what I put. It's to allow the wearer to listen to the gossip stones and the thoughts of animals. But listening to
Talk
thoughts
to
of
dogs
dogs
and
and
statues.
stones is perfect.
No, I don't know. I only know that the only real game apart from Ocarina of Time that I majorly got into was Zelda Link's Awakening. So
Good game,
enough.
though.
I'm not the biggest Zelda fan.
I just have to spread out my things related to we talked about. And then finally, question number 10. In Dragon Ball, how many basic levels
you
of
might
Super
pull this
Saiyan
back.
are there?
Rick has put 7.
And Kieran has gone with 0. Super Saiyan wasn't introduced until Dragon Ball Z. He's then gone on to mention that there are 4 Super Saiyan levels in total, 5 including Super Saiyan God.
I don't know if I should give you the point for... It is 4, but you said 0 first, and how we always go with quizzes, and we go with the first answer.
No.
I don't know if I should give you that.
How many times do you see someone go Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball?
Yeah, but it's...
You don't. You
It's
said
the,
Dragon Ball.
It's the Dragon Ball
You
franchise.
said Dragon Ball.
Also, if you're going to make that argument, then neither of us get any points for Green Lantern because we both put Near Glen Rent as our first
But you've
answer
got-
and then put Green Lantern.
No, but you crossed
Yeah,
it.
I'm sorry. I am going to argue this. Your question was incorrectly asked. I thought it was a trick question.
I'm
which is why I
joking
put
with-
0. Then I explained it as being 4 Super Saiyan levels plus the fact that there is the Super Saiyan God level introduced in one of the movies.
I'm going to give you the mark for 4. You
I'm
said
getting the mark.
You'll get 4. I was just making a joke with you because always with quizzes when you would run it, if I was close but had it as my second answer, you would never give it to me.
I'll tell you what, Callum.
What, buddy?
After that one, it's a good thing you've got a tiebreaker question because it is 3-all.
Is it 3-all?
This
It
could be
is
the first
3-all.
time that one of us has ever prepared a tiebreaker question and actually had to use it.
I know.
I'm going now onto my Facebook because I didn't write it down just in case it was on a separate piece of paper. I'm now logging into my Facebook
Sounds
account.
like a lie.
We have to blag for a bit, Rick.
Yeah.
Okay,
flag
good.
it.
Right, I'm going to beat you at this tie-break, providing Callum does not ask ridiculous questions.
I am going to beat you even more so, hoping that he's asking a ridiculous question.
I am going to beat you so bad that you will not like it.
I am going to beat you so bad that your mother won't recognise you.
My mum doesn't recognise me anyway.
Then I don't have to beat you that badly.
Yes.
It'll be that easy.
I am going to destroy you at this tiebreaker question. You are going to wish that you forfeited beforehand.
I am
This is insane.
I am going to end you like the first Lord of the Rings film ended.
Abruptly.
Yeah, just, let's go to Mordor, end of film.
I am going to end you like Charlie Sheen ended his own career.
Winning.
Yeah, by winning.
Nice, I like that one. I am going to end you like they should have ended The Matrix after the first movie.
Good.
I've logged in.
Good.
I've got my question for you, people.
Shh, we're busy.
I'm going to end you like it seems like this ranting session never will.
I'm going to end you like it's 1999.
And we're all scared of Y2K.
All right, here's the question,
Prince.
people. Can we give you the question, please?
Okay.
Hurry up then.
It is a Daredevil question.
How do we answer?
First person to yell out the right answer.
Okay.
We always do tiebreakers.
Ben Affleck.
Ray Fiennes.
The question is, what is Matt Murdock, who is Daredevil?
Lawyer.
What is his middle name?
Oh.
Murder.
John.
No.
Luke.
Can you imagine Matt Murdoch?
We're looking for his middle name here, people.
David. Stephen.
Peter.
Clive.
No.
Sean.
No.
Patches.
Junior.
No.
Fisherman.
Wilson.
I'll give you a clue. It's in a very
Gary.
It's in a very simple way of how a lot of Marvel characters are done with their names. Matt Murdock.
Michael.
Yes.
Stanley and his alliteration.
I was thinking that's why I went with murder. That was a terrible tiebreaker.
That's
question.
not a terrible. I could have put that as an actual quiz question.
To be honest, I should have got that it was an M, given that it is Marvel.
Yeah. Well, I did, but I didn't think that they went all the way through. Michael Murdock. That's his name.
That's actually his
ridiculous, isn't it? Well, okay. So that was Callum's quiz, won by Kieran.
The thing is, Stanley, he loves his alliteration in characters' names. I mean,
yeah.
Stephen Strange, Peter Parker, Reed Richards, Sue Storm.
The incredible Iron Man.
Yeah, and the best one, of course, J. Jonah Jameson Jr.
You stole that from Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, well, it's an obvious one, J. Jonah Jameson Jr.
Yeah.
I was tempted to go. I was thinking. I wanted it to be a
Dum Dum Dougal.
for my
Fing Fang Foom.
I actually put a bit of time into this tiebreaker. Actually, I wanted it to be a middle name of a famous character. I was going to go with J. Jonah Jameson Jr. With him, but yeah,
We would have got that pretty quickly.
A, quickly, and B, I can't say it quickly myself. So yeah, that's the quiz. Moving on.
Cool. Right, should we play a song real quick and get ourselves reorganised?
I think we should. So we are now going to be playing a song for you guys. If you want to get in touch with us at the studio, you can get in touch live on YouNow and also watch us. I'm going to change the camera angle because it's a very unflattering shot of the back of my head right now.
I enjoy it.
You can tweet in at Nerdemic Show. Get in touch. Let us know what you did, how you did on the quiz. Also, what you want to hear us talking about for the rest of the show. This is Islands in the Stream.
This is what Callum insisted upon playing.
Dolly Parton with Kenny Rogers, as per Callum's request.
I couldn't think of another song.
We'll see you in a few minutes with our science section. Hello, we're back.
Back hard.
Welcome back to the Nerdemic Show.
Did everybody enjoy that? Kenny, what is it? Kenny
Rogers.
Rogers and
Hugo has said, "Thank God it's over."
I really liked it. Islands in the stream. That is.
Don't worry, guys. I'll be choosing the playlists from now on.
No, we won't. Refuse.
Well,
Refuse.
If we get this in the system, we'll have some actual Smash Bros music.
And that was his Dolly Parton album.
So we are moving into the science section today.
Yes.
Here we go. Science and technology.
We have news.
We have news. Yes, we do have some news.
This is new for this section.
We don't normally do sciencey news. We should, really. There's lots
should.
of science news. So the science news is the discovery of a new type of fish, which you can see there on the right. I'm fairly certain that's it.
It sounds like a faux science news.
It does, kind of. Basically, the only reason why anyone's taking an interest in this is because of this fish's look and its big eyes. It has been named the Greedo fish from Star Wars. Han shot first.
Yeah. I can see it.
Yeah, same pearly black eyes.
I'm sure that there are other things that it looks more like. It looks a bit...
Let's just let it be the Greedo fish.
Yeah, okay.
If
it was green, I would have been up for it.
See, if I was going to go technical, I would call it the Rhodian fish, because that is the species that Greedo is. But that is going into...
No one's going to get that.
No one would get that.
I reckon we can... If it was green, I would have gone for it. I reckon we can find things that it looks more like.
Send them in if you think so.
I will have a look.
Let's have a look for next week's science section. Things that look more like this fish than Greedo.
Yeah.
But there is actually a couple of Rhodians that do have that coloured skin, so that's why it would be better to call them Rhodians.
So, science section today, we're doing a slightly extended one that we're linking somewhat into... Sorry.
Just a quick news. Eclipse tomorrow.
Yes.
We need to mention this, because if we don't mention this, we're not a science show.
No. Well, we're not. We do a science section, and
but still.
it's passable at best. But yes, there is an eclipse tomorrow in the UK. Get on it. Don't look directly at it. Apparently, that'll hurt your eyes.
Don't do that. People will do it. People will still look into the sun.
This is the thing, though. This is what I don't get about it. I remember the last eclipse, and everyone was like, don't look into it. Even if you've got sunglasses on, don't do it. I did. I was fine. All right?
Well, fine is a subjective term, really, isn't it?
There are parts of my brain that don't do the thing where they make words in order. Mm-hmm. That's completely unrelated. It just started at the same time. But the thing is, right, they say, don't look into the sun. because you'll blind yourself.
Did the Libertines say that?
Don't
Yeah.
do it anyway.
But the thing is, there's a moon in the way. There's a moon literally blocking it out. Everything
it's
goes
the
dark.
moment that it then suddenly moves, and then you get the halo around it. Is that what we're talking about?
All right. Well, be careful. Look online. Look for instructions.
Look until
on how
you
to do
notice it's starting to move. Then don't look. because
Get a
then you
box
have
and
the
poke
sun.
a hole in the box, and you can look. That's what I always got told. Obviously, poke 2 holes so you can see
In
through
all honesty,
the box.
based on when I last saw the eclipse, best thing to do, don't bother with the eclipse. Because let's face it, you can watch videos of it that are going to be much better than poking a hole in a box. What you need to do, get somewhere high up, like a high building, a hill, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And watch the horizon. Because that's the coolest thing. Because you will see darkness literally sweep across the entire landscape when the eclipse actually kicks in. And that is the coolest part of it. And you can watch it because looking at the ground is less likely to blind you than looking at the sun.
Well, depends what's on the ground. Diamonds.
Sadly, I'm going to be in a lesson when this starts, but it's a science lesson.
Oh,
so
they'll let you see it. They'll
let
let
you
you out to see
Yeah.
it.
If it was like maths, that would be horrible. And the teacher's like, nobody cares about eclipses. But in science, you kind of have an excuse to scarf there, don't you?
It's a it's a
But
94%.
You should definitely get a chance to watch it. Hugo on You Now has just told us that the next one in the UK isn't going to be until 2090. So
We'll all be dead by then.
Well, you guys will be. I'm going to live forever.
Or downloaded into computers.
You guys might
and
be.
thus find eclipses
I will
trivial
be
because we've got the
91.
entirety
There
of
was
the
more of a
internet.
chance of me being alive in 1990 because I'll be 91.
In 1990?
And
There was no chance of you being alive in 1990.
In 2090 because I will be 91.
There's less
yeah.
chance now that you're annoying me.
Yeah, at the moment, judging by Rick's look at you, I think you'd be lucky if you make it to 2019. Okay, so...
when 2019, do you mean 19 minutes past 8?
Yeah. That's big. Anyway, science.
As we've been talking about, there is a build-up to Age of Ultron. It is on its way, and in the comic book section, I have been leading my way towards it. So I decided today I'd try and link some of the science towards it as well.
Yeah.
Now, one thing they are going to be missing out in the Age of Ultron film, for many various reasons, is that there is a lot of time travel that goes on in the Age of Ultron comic books. So, with time travel, there's always the possibility of paradoxes, which do end up being caused in Age of Ultron and end up breaking the time-space continuum. Thank you, Wolverine, for that one. So I'm going to talk today a bit about paradoxes, specifically time paradoxes. Now, I love paradoxes. The idea that, could God make a rock so heavy that he couldn't even lift it? That kind of stuff. Love that. Time paradoxes, confusing as hell. So I'm going to try and break it down for you guys. So, first thing you need to know is that there are 3 different theorized versions of time as we know them, okay? So, in relation to travel. So, first of all, you've got your basic linear timeline. This is the one that's most commonly used in film and TV because it's the one where if you go back in time and, kill someone, then you go back to your own timeline, that person never existed.
Yep.
Oh, didn't never exist, but they died back then, okay? So you can affect changes. You've got fixed timelines. A fixed timeline runs in the same linear pattern, but it's impossible for various reasons to actually make any changes. If you go back in time and try to change something, chances are you end up being responsible for it actually happening.
Yeah.
Okay? I'll be giving examples of that later on.
Mm-hmm.
And the final one is the multiverse timeline theory. The multiverse timeline theory states that there are billions, trillions, quadrillions of different universes, all virtually the same, but running at slightly different periods in time. So if you were to go back in time, kill your own grandfather before you'd ever been born, then go back to your time zone, nothing would have happened. Your granddad may still be alive, assuming old age hasn't hit him or anything, and you would still be alive, okay? So I'm going to talk now about some of the different types of paradoxes. I've got some lovely random images to go in with it as well, just to spice things up, starting with the Om-Nom snake. Eating his own tail. Love it. Okay, so the first type of paradox, and one of the most common ones, is the bootstrap paradox, or the ontological paradox, Let's just go with
Did you
bootstraps.
say ontological? Nontological.
I did stress that a little bit more than I needed to.
Of course you did. It's an
So-
om-nom snake.
This is a paradox of time travel that refers to scenarios whereby items or information are passed from the future to the past, which in turn becomes the same item or information that is subsequently passed from past to future. This creates a circulatory cause effect such that the items or information have no discernible origin. Thus, the paradox raises the ontological question. The ontological question of where, when, and by whom the items were created and the information derived. After information or an object is sent back in time, it is recovered in the present and becomes the very object or information that was initially brought back in time in the first place. Numerous science fiction stories are based on this paradox, which has also been the subject of serious physics articles. The term bootstrap paradox refers to the expression pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. The use of the term for the time travel paradox was popularized by Robert A. Heinlein's story By His Bootstraps. So an example of this, or a couple of examples, involving information. A man with a time machine takes the complete plays of Shakespeare, translated into Elizabethan English, and travels back in time to Tudor England. He then gives the plays to the young William Shakespeare before he wrote them, telling him to publish them as his own work. He does, and a copy of the original publication is what is taken back in time. This means that nobody wrote the plays of Shakespeare, as he essentially gave them to himself, thereby closing the loop. All right. Another good example of this is in The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. There is a song that you learn when you are adult Link in the future, and when you go back in time as Kid Link, you then teach that song to the person who teaches it to you as adult Link. So that is an example of a bootstrap paradox, because where did it start? Chicken and egg. You know, it's very chicken and eggy, the whole bootstrap paradox. Involving physical items, an old woman gives a young man a watch. The young man goes back in time and hands the watch to a young woman. She later grows into the older woman who hands the watch to him. The watch is therefore has no point of origin. This happens a lot in time travel type stuff on TV.
Is that what's going on in this picture? This picture has a slight problem because
this isn't a time paradox. This is just an example of a paradox.
It's not really, because the sentence at the bottom is true, which means that the sentence at the bottom is true. So the sentence at the bottom is the sentence at the top is false. But because that's true, the one at the top can be false. It doesn't matter. You've not really got anywhere, and nothing. You just know that.
But if the sentence at the top is false, then the sentence at the bottom shouldn't be true. But then if the sentence at the bottom isn't true, then the sentence at the top can be.
Not really, because you just disregard the sentence at the top. It's just.
I understand what
Well, that's the point. You can't disregard it.
Why not?
Because it's a paradox.
Just go with it.
Okay. Involving people. A man travels back in time and falls in love with and marries a woman, who he later learns was his own mother, who then gives birth to him. He is therefore his own father, creating a closed loop in his ancestry and giving him no origin for his paternal genetic material. An example of this was Lister in Red Dwarf, who was his own father. Mm-hmm. Weird.
Which was awkward.
It was a bit, yeah.
Very awkward kind of storyline.
The next paradox we're going with, this one applies very much to the kind of fixed timelines, is a predestination paradox, also called a causal loop, causality loop, and less frequently closed loop or closed time loop paradox. It's a paradox of time travel that is often used as a convention in science fiction. A temporal causality loop is a scenario in which some earlier event, number one, is the cause of, or at least one of the causes of, some later event, number two. And through time travel, event number two is also the cause of event number one. The paradox occurs when a time traveller is caught in a loop of events that predestines or predates him or her to travel back in time. In this case, event number 2 would be the event of the time traveller going back in time, and event number 1 would be something that time traveller did in the past that in turn influenced him or her to travel back in time. Keeping up?
Yeah.
I'm struggling to. The paradox suggests that those people who travel back in time would have no way of changing a situation. One example would be a person who travels back in time to save a loved one from being hit by a car. Then once in the past, the person uses a car to try and reach the scene of the accident before it happened and accidentally hits the very person they had come back to save, causing the death that had inspired their future self to travel back in time. This theory is closely related to the nom-nom-nom-tological paradox, in that something, in this case the reason for the trip in time, has no independent origin. The paradox does not necessarily imply a higher plan from some higher power, it merely affirms a belief that time is immutable. The series of events can still simply be from a causality rather than from some form of higher plan, such as event A, mad scientist meets delusional madman mumbling about time travel mechanics. Then event B, mad scientist devotes his life to proving time travel, ignoring his wife and kids who leave him. Event C, mad scientist decides to travel back in time to prevent this. Event D, time travel turns mad scientist into delusional madman, predestined in the sense that causality is immutable, not that there was necessarily a plan involved. Because of the possibility of influencing that past while time traveling, one way of explaining history does not change is by saying that whatever has happened must happen. This means either that time travelers attempt to alter the past in this model, intentionally or not, would only fulfill their role in creating history as we know it and not change it at all. So I'll give some examples of this one because, again, it's quite confusing, but the examples make it a bit easier. A variation on the predestination paradoxes, which involves information rather than objects traveling through time, is similar to the self-fulfilling prophecy. For example, a man receives information about his own future, telling him that he will die from a heart attack. He resolves to get fit so to avoid the fate, but in doing so overexerts himself, causing him to suffer the heart attack that kills him. This one kind of relates in a way to that Future Diary anime that you were talking about, Callum. In these examples, causality is turned on its head, as the flanking events are both causes and effects of each other, and this is where the paradox lies. One example of predestination paradox that is not simultaneously a nom-nom-nom-tological paradox is the following. In 1850, Bob's horse was spooked by something and almost took Bob over a cliff, had it not been for a strange man stopping the horse. This strange man was later honoured by having a statue of him erected. 200 years later, John goes back in time to sightsee and sees someone's horse about to go over a cliff. He rushes to his aid and saves his life. So that's where there's no real planning behind it. It just happens to happen. Another example was in the film Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, when Harry sees a figure save him and Sirius, believing the person to be his dead father, doing the Patronus with the stag, until he and Hermione time travel and Harry realised that it was himself who had saved them.
That was in Back to the Future 3 as well, wasn't it?
But when Harry Potter saved himself?
Yes.
No. In Back to the Future 3, that paradox of when the school teacher was about to go over the side of the cliff.
Yeah.
But then he got stopped by Doc. She got stopped by Doc Brown, and then apparently the ravine was then apparently actually named after a teacher or something, because it was the teacher that went over the cliff.
In most examples of the predestination paradox, the person travels back in time, ends up fulfilling their role in an event that has already occurred. In a self-fulfilling prophecy, the person is fulfilling their role in an event that is yet to occur, and it is usually information that travels in time. For example, in this form of the prophecy, rather than a person, in either situation, the attempts to avert the course of past or future history both fail. And the last paradox we're going with is one of the best-known ones, the grandfather paradox. The paradox is described as follows. The time traveller goes back in time and kills his grandfather before his grandfather meets his grandmother. As a result, the time traveler is never born. But if he was never born, then he is unable to travel through time and kill his grandfather, which means the traveler would then be born after all, and so on and so on. So it would be stuck in this kind of loop sort of thing, which isn't great. Despite the name, the grandfather paradox does not exclusively regard the cause or means of traveling back in time being, to do with one's own birth or, grandfathers and stuff like that. The paradox's namesake example is merely the most commonly thought of when one considers the whole range of possible actions. Another example would be using scientific knowledge to invent a time machine, then going back in time, and whether through murder or otherwise,
lobotomizing yourself.
Impeding a scientist's work that would eventually lead to the invention of the time machine. An equivalent paradox is known in philosophy as autoin fanticide, going back in time and killing oneself as a baby, assuming the causal link between the time traveler's present and future. The grandfather paradox that disrupts that link may be regarded as impossible, thus precluding the arbitrary alteration of one's own faith. So, this one is a pretty standard one because, it's one that's been used quite a lot. Another example of this is in Back to the Future, where in the first film, Marty has the photo of him fading away because he's interrupted the events of his parents hooking up, basically. So that's an example of that one happening. Enjoying those pictures there of various time-traveling machines from movies and fiction and such like.
Real life convoy. I was just reading that one. That's quite cool.
Well, did you know we're all time traveling?
We are.
Just very slowly.
Did you also know that none of us actually exist in the present?
Yeah.
No.
It takes our brains microseconds to actually process everything. So we're technically living less than a second in the past.
God, not me. I'm pretty...
Rick's in the future.
I'm pretty in the future.
Clondar is the only thing that's in the present.
Clondar doesn't conform to your time. Clondar just exists, regardless of what time he exists in.
Keeping old references alive.
So, there are some resolutions to this, and I'll go through a few of those now. The first one, the most common one, is the Novikov self-consistency principle. The Novikov self-consistency principle expresses one view on how backwards time travel could be possible without a danger of paradoxes. According to this hypothesis, the only possible timelines are those entirely self-consistent, so anything a time traveler does in the past must have been part of history all along, and the time traveler can never do anything to prevent the trip back in time from happening, since this would represent an inconsistency. Nicholas J.J. Smith argues, for example, that if some time traveler killed the child who lived in his old address, this would ipso facto necessitate that the child was not the time traveler's younger self, nor the younger self of anyone alive in the time frame that the time traveler came from. This could be extrapolated further into the possibility that the child's death led to the family moving away, which in turn led to the time traveler's family moving into the house, guaranteeing that the house later became the home the time traveler would then grow up in, forming a predestination paradox. Seth Lloyd and other researchers at MIT have proposed an expanded version of the Novikov principle, according to which probability bends to prevent paradoxes from occurring. Outcomes would become stranger as one approaches a forbidden act, as the universe must favour improbable events to prevent impossible ones. It might be argued that the ordinary concept of human free will is equivalent to this sort of time travel paradox, for if one could travel back in time to change a future relative to that past space-time travel interval, then how would that be distinguished in principle from the everyday choices and decisions considered to be freely made within any space-time frame taken as the present? It's pretty... it makes sense in a way. Time can bend to sort itself out. Here's one that you guys should recognize the name of. The Bad Wolf Resolution.
Doctor Who.
A resolution to the Hitler's murder paradox is that the murderer travelled back in time in order to kill Hitler because he discovered a note telling him to do so. Then, after killing Hitler, the murderer writes a note to himself telling him to travel back in time to kill Hitler. The result in the murderer effectively writing a note to his relative past self. A more well-known example is the Doctor Who story arc of the same name. So this is dealing with that whole idea of if you travel back in time and killed Hitler, then your past self, who would grow up in that timeline, would never have a reason to go back in time and kill Hitler, because you'd already done it. So they wouldn't travel back in time and kill Hitler, and therefore Hitler wouldn't have died, and you'd be stuck in this loop. However, what they're saying here is go back in time, kill Hitler, but then write yourself a note and mail it to yourself, like date marked or something like that, saying, go back in time, kill this dude Hitler, trust me, it's worth doing. So that's how they're dealing with that kind of paradox. Pretty simple one. Worked in Doctor Who as well. The non-existence theory. According to this theory, if someone were to do something in the past that would cause their non-existence, upon returning to the future, they would find themselves in a world where the effects of, and chain reactions thereof, their actions are not present as the person never existed. Through this theory, they would still exist, though. Two well-known examples of this are found in It's a Wonderful Life and Roswell That Ends Well. And quickly onto the final resolution, the destruction resolution. Some science fiction stories suggest that any paradox would destroy the universe, or at least the parts of space and time affected by the paradox. The plots of such stories tend to revolve around preventing paradoxes, such as the final episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. A less destructive alternative of this theory suggests the death of the time traveller, whether the history is altered or not. An example would be in the first part of the Back to the Future trilogy, where the lead character's alteration of history results in a risk of his own disappearance, as we mentioned earlier, and he has to fix the alteration to preserve his own existence. In this theory, killing one's grandfather would result in the disappearance of oneself. History would erase all traces of the person's existence, and the death of the grandfather would be caused by another means, say, another existing person firing the gun. Thus, the paradox would never occur from a historical viewpoint. So there we have our paradoxes, and we have our resolutions. All very, very understandable.
Where is this leading?
So, what we're going to talk about now is we're going to bring that into a medium that we all understand. I've got some examples of where these kind of paradoxes have happened within film and TV. And
something I can understand.
And we can discuss whether the resolutions really help or, whether it just completely messes up. So, the first one we're going to go to is one that has already been mentioned because it has many paradoxes, is Back to the Future. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, as I've already stated, Back to the Future, it does have a few paradoxes, but it uses a lot of the same resolutions that are mentioned, so it kind of evens itself out. Now, I personally think as far as time travel writing goes, this is one of the best ones out there, when it comes to trying to, answer the problems of paradoxes. However, there is one paradox that it really does kind of mess up on, and it's not one that most people notice. So I'm sorry, by the way, for this next bit, there are going to be spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen these films, but if you haven't seen Back to the Future, shame on you! Shame on you!
I haven't seen Back to the Future.
Would be a lie. Many times.
So the particular paradox I'm talking about now is in Back to the Future 2. Mm-hmm. In Back to the Future 2, an older version of Biff from the future, I say the future, it's like a couple of months from now, actually, from October today. Of this year, travels back in time with a copy of a sport almanac to give to his past self from the 50s, so that he can win all of these bets and become super rich, as we see later on towards the end of the film. Mm-hmm. Now, the problem with this is when Marty and the Doc go back to 1986, their own timeline, everything has changed because of what Biff has done. However, if Biff went back in time and changed the timeline, when he came back to his present, our present, 2015, the timeline should have changed by that point, and he shouldn't have been able to return to the same timeline that he left from. So, do you understand where I'm going with this? So, basically, they ended up creating a massive paradox there, by which Biff should never have been able to return the DeLorean to the Doc and Marty, because it would have been a completely different timeline, and that timeline itself should have been erased, with Doc and Marty in it, having no recollection of any of this happening. So, yeah. Messes it up a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, shame.
Do they address that?
They don't. It's completely ignored.
Okay.
Oh, one moment quick from you now. Bye, Hugo. He's been a big commenter in these ones.
Goodbye. Oh, I thought there was going to be a picture of me, but it's Doc and Marty. Never mind. That's a great way to leave.
Oh, yeah.
Goodbye, Hugo.
Bye, Hugo.
Bye.
Sorry. Moving on.
Okay, so the next one we're going to talk about... Oh, I just have to show this. This is a lovely picture.
That is a nice picture.
There's our DeLorean there. Okay, so the next one I'm going to talk about is going to be Terminator.
I don't know what the theme is to Terminator, so I can't do the noises.
It's Guns N' Roses.
The second one is...
You could be mine.
So this is specifically to Terminator 1 and 2. I'm fairly certain the new Terminator film is going to be full of paradoxes because it's basically whitewashing the rest of the series.
Yeah, pretty much.
Isn't it just basically Arnold Schwarzenegger showing up and shooting himself, which is metaphorically just new Arnold Schwarzenegger destroying the old franchise?
So the main one with this relates to Terminators 1 and 2. Okay? So for anyone who isn't familiar with the Terminator franchise, in the future, which again I'm fairly certain is actually our past, I think it was meant to happen a few years ago, artificial intelligence will rise up and overthrow the human race, making us an endangered species. Eventually a resistance is put together, led by...
Kyle Reese. No, it's John Connor.
John Connor.
Who ends up defeating the machines. So the machines respond by sending a Terminator, a robot who looks a lot like Arnold Schwarzenegger, back in time to kill his mother, Sarah Connor, before he's even conceived. The humans respond to this by sending back a soldier named Kyle Reese to protect her. Kyle Reese ends up getting funky with Sarah Connor and impregnating her with John Connor. So this in itself is, in a way, a kind of closed-loop paradox.
How did he not know?
Well, how do you mean, how does he not know?
He's sending back his dad.
Did he send back him with, oh, by the way, protect her, but at the same time, she's my mum, you know?
There is a robot chicken sketch.
In Terminator Salvation, it is revealed that John Connor knew who Kyle Reese was and who he was going to be, and that's why he was so determined to find him and protect him. And in Terminator 1, it's implied that Kyle Reese knows what's going to happen because he's got the photo of Sarah and he's basically in love with her from the get-go. So this one itself isn't too bad. Okay, this kind of sorts itself out. The problem comes in Terminator 2. In Terminator 2, again, spoilers, at the end of the film, they discover that the people creating Skynet are using a computer chip left from the remains of the Terminator from Terminator 1. Bootstrap paradox. Yeah. The chip that created Skynet was created by Skynet. Yeah. So we got the bootstrap paradox there. They go and they destroy that chip. They kill the scientist who was responsible for Skynet.
Well, they don't, do they?
Well, he dies.
He gets killed by the Terminators, doesn't he?
Grandfather paradox.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. And then Arnie ends up killing himself at the end so that there's no trace left of it. Thereby meaning Skynet should never be created. That, you know, they've changed the time and made sure it wouldn't happen. Now, the problem with this is this then means that when Kyle Reese grows up, not Kyle Reese, John Connor grows up, he's not going to lead a human resistance, and they're not going to be able to travel back in time and send Kyle Reese back there to impregnate his mother. Now, this one could have been sorted out using the Bad Wolf resolution, by which, John Connor could still go and find Kyle Reese and send him back in time regardless.
Yeah.
Well, technically, because actually the time travel equipment that the humans use is stolen from Skynet anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why they couldn't use the Bad Wolf resolution, because the technology wouldn't be created. Now, the problem with this is if Kyle Reese is never sent back in time to save Sarah Connor, because there's no Terminator to even save her from, John Connor is never born, which means that no one's there to stop the machines from rising up, and John Connor isn't there to lead the humans in the resistance, which basically means, in a kind of long, loopy kind of way, that the machines win.
Yeah.
Because without John Connor there to lead the resistance, the humans are screwed. So, by doing all this kind of stuff, by the events of Terminator 2, they've actually screwed over the human race.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, they could have possibly found ways to address it. They could have, made it so that the humans created their own time machine to send Kyle Reese back, so that we could have had a Bad Wolf kind of thing going on. But no such luck. Okay. The next one I'm going to go into. I still love these films, by the way. The following one, I don't love so much.
This I like. I do. I think Terminator was such a great film for when it was. It looks good, didn't it?
Yeah,
it looked good.
I think it still looks pretty good.
Terminator 2.
I think Terminator 1 and 2 are still incredible films. It's just they have a paradox, unfortunately.
I don't think that ruins it. It doesn't ruin the film.
Okay, so next film, Looper. Any of you seen Looper?
I have seen Looper.
No, I haven't.
So I'm sorry, but there are going to be some spoilers here, right?
That's okay. I don't think I'm ever going to be that bothered about it.
I wouldn't, to be honest. So the premise of Looper...
isn't it when... Is this the one where Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the young Bruce Willis?
Yes. Yeah.
That was weird.
So yeah, Bruce Willis travels back in time and meets his younger self, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, because he's been marked up for execution by this big gang boss that he works for, and he travels back in time to kill this guy when he was a child, because he's basically Hitler of the future, but with superpowers as well, which, they just randomly throw in there that he has superpowers. Joseph Gordon-Levitt ends up trying to save the kid, basically because he fancies his mum. So first of all, we end up with, a bit of a potential grandfather paradox here. If he goes back and kills this kid, then in the future, his past self has no reason to then travel back in time and do it again. The main problem with this film is the resolution to it. So the resolution to this film is Joseph Gordon-Levitt realizing that he's not going to be able to stop Bruce Willis from killing this kid, takes a gun, puts it to his own head, and blows his brains out, therefore killing the older version of himself.
Wow.
Yeah. Noble self-sacrifice. Great. Lovely. Love it. Problem with this is if he kills his older self, or himself at that point, then his older self is never going to travel back in time to try and kill this kid, and he therefore has no reason to blow his brains out.
Yeah.
So they've basically put themselves into this causal loop where it's just going to go through the same thing again and again and again. And I personally just found that to be really lazy writing.
Yeah. You could have just found a way of him able to kill Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be a paradox. The older version would have died in the past.
And there were so many other ways to do it. I mean, like, say, he decides to move to a different country so that he never ends up working for this crime boss. There were other ways they could have done it.
Yeah. But none quite as...
gripping.
You've also got the issue with it, like, scenes like this. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character... Yeah. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character is never really in any danger from Bruce Willis, because anything that's done to him will be done to Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Could kick him in the nuts, because, he probably still wouldn't be feeling that 30 years later.
Yeah.
something like that.
Not
but,
necessarily.
Couldn't kill him.
Well, if Bruce Willis knows he doesn't have any kids, he might as well, yeah.
Yeah.
But any kind of, like, scarring moves are going to cause problems, aren't they?
There's the...
That kid's not happy.
Yeah, that's the creepy little kid that he goes back in time to kill.
Cool.
Yeah.
So does Joseph Gordon ever kill himself to stop Bruce Willis from killing this kid, and then this kid's still going to grow up to be superpowered Hitler anyway?
Well, this was one of the problems with it. The actions taken by Bruce Willis's character end up being what shape him into becoming a supervillain. So he ended up creating the supervillain he'd come back to destroy, which is an example of those kind of fixed timelines that I spoke about, where you try to save someone from being hit by a car, you end up being the one to hit them.
Yeah.
So yeah, not brilliant. And the next one...
That film seems like a bag of laughs, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It is a funny film.
So the next one I'm coming on to, Doctor Who.
I can answer these.
You can't talk about like a time travel show without having a bit of Doctor Who in there. Okay. Now Doctor Who does actually try to do a good job of explaining a lot of its paradoxes away. A lot of the time it's in kind of an oversimplified, just, kind of be sure that the Doctor knows what he's talking about. When he says stuff like how the universe tends to fix paradoxes itself and that kind of thing. Now, within the Doctor Who universe, every time they go to a different time period, there are time periods that are in flux, which are the ones that he is allowed to interact with, where he's allowed to change them. And there are fixed points in time. Examples of fixed points in time are the fact that there's reference to the Doctor having been on the Titanic, and having done nothing to stop it from sinking because it was a fixed point.
The wars.
A very good example of this kind of fixed timeline used in Doctor Who is the episode Fires of Pompeii.
Oh, yes.
Where the Doctor goes back in time, accidentally
That's the worst episode in the world because it has every future Doctor Who cast member in it.
Pretty much. It's got Peter Capaldi in it.
And Karen Gillan.
And Karen Gillan, yeah. True. Yeah, it was basically a casting session.
Yeah.
But the plot line itself was a great one because he goes back in time, realises that they're in Pompeii instead of Rome, where they were meant to be on Volcano Day, says to his companion Donna that there's nothing he can do to stop it, it's a fixed point in time, and then realises later on that it's not a fixed point, it's actually in flux, and that he has a choice between setting the volcano off himself or letting the entire world be destroyed by these fiery aliens. And he ends up being the one who destroys Pompeii, which is, a very sad moment for him. But it's a good example of, again, these fixed timelines where you go back in time, try to prevent something, and then you end up being
He then creates
the
another
result
fixed
of it.
point with the fact is that after he set up the volcano, he now has to let everyone die. And then he fluxes that one itself by saving the one family, which is Peter Capaldi's.
Caecilius.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that because if anybody ever did Latin in school, I did. Yes, that's right. I am a genius. Thank you for noticing. If anybody did Latin in school, in the Latin textbooks, there was a family, and Caecilius was the dad, and Quintus was the son. And I think I don't know whether they deliberately nicked it from there, but I was like, really?
I was really hoping you were going to tell me that Caecilius was Latin for doctor.
If only.
That would be brilliant.
That'd be cool.
There was that would have been like.
Well, you know about the kind of spoiler in World War Z with Peter Capaldi, right?
Oh yeah, because he's works for the WHO Institute.
Yeah, he works for the World Health Organization, or WHO, and his character is never named, so he's credited as Who Doctor, and this was before he was announced as the next Doctor Who.
Wow.
Which was quite good. But anyway, so my main problem with the paradoxes in Doctor Who is, to be honest, it's my only real problem. I love Doctor Who. Is that there are fixed points in human history in what is now our future.
Yes.
Okay, so these events have to happen. An example of this is the waters of Mars, where the Doctor realizes he can't save everyone because it's a fixed point, and even when he tries to save everyone, it kind of, messes things up for him. Problem with this is that means that any event, whether it is, influx or whatever, that happens before that cannot result in the extinction of the human race. So any episode set in, say, our own time period, which they have had, where, say, like the Daleks or the Cybermen are attacking, or the Master trying to wipe out all life on Earth cannot happen because there are fixed points in time in the future where the human race and Earth are still there, alive and kicking.
Yeah.
There's also issues with... it's one of the reasons I've never really been able to get into Torchwood.
I loved Torchwood.
love Torchwood.
My problem with Torchwood is they can't have anything like really big. The smaller episodes, self-contained ones, were great, but when they like went for that
Children of the Earth.
Yeah, the Children of the Earth.
The Children of the Earth was
I'm
good.
sorry, but if these aliens come and they're like, we're going to wipe out all life on the planet if you don't give us a bunch of kids, right? I'm sorry, but the Doctor shows up on Earth a few weeks later. He's like, this isn't right. I'd better go back and sort this out, you know? It just, with the Doctor being there, you know, it kind of, for me, it was like they should have just stuck to the little self-contained stories that the Doctor would...
I think the Children of the Earth episodes of Torchwood were incredible.
I thought they were great.
They're the best episodes of Torchwood.
I think it would be a brilliant standalone show, but in the
yeah.
Doctor Who universe,
See,
it doesn't work for me.
That isn't the... Out of the entire Doctor Who thing, that isn't the thing that, in the Torchwood, that messes me. Miracle Day is the one that has that bigger problem.
Oh, yeah.
No one can die for like an entire 2 years, and the Doctor doesn't know anything about this or doesn't deal with anything.
Well,
This was set in America, and America doesn't care about.
Let's keep
set
in
in
mind.
America, but it was a worldwide epidemic.
Yeah, let's keep in mind though that could have been a fixed point in time. So the Doctor may have chosen to ignore it, knowing that it would happen and that it would sort itself out.
He never referenced it at the same time that the Doctor Who show was coming out. And surely, I think, like, okay, I can't die for 2 years. I'm thinking that's something that a companion could have mentioned at some point since.
Yeah.
Hey.
That was one of the beautiful things about Donna, though. She just always seemed to miss these big events. So
Maybe
what
character.
about the issue that I mentioned? You seem to think that you'd have an answer for it, Callum.
What, the
future fixed points in time.
Well, one of the problems I have about that is who decides what factors into it being a fixed point.
See,
in time?
how it works in factual fixed points of time in Doctor Who is the fact is the events of that occurrence majorly affect the future. For example, the example you're giving of the Mars base, if it was because of the Mars base destruction, which caused the Mars base was destroyed and all the crew are dead, they all died on Mars, then the grandson of the captain, I can't remember, I think her name was like Captain Bromley or something, she creates hover vehicles. She's like the main pioneer in intergalactic travel in like faith to her grandmother. She does it all based on like the achievements of technology that they were working on the Mars base. Yeah. And the big story is that she doing all this because of this, and if her grandmother didn't die then she wouldn't have the reason to go into pioneering this future technology and that entire paradox, and then that entire massive connection in Earth's future. Because if you know the Doctor Who universe, then we have something called the Earth Empire, where they pretty much own about a quarter of our galaxy by the year 2535. So fixed points are basically there are time periods where certain key points happen, which then can pretty much just change the entire future. Titanic is the fact is that then after that we had the massive inburnt in health and safety on boats with lifespans, and also it had a massive class change. World War 1 and 2 were fixed points in time because of the massive technological changes that happened during that period. If you didn't have World War 2...
I think the problem with that, though, like, I see where you're getting at, but a lot of the points that are in flux within Doctor Who are, like, extinction-level events. So,
yeah,
they have more of an effect than, say, the Titanic crashing into
an iceberg. But the points in flux is they become... The reason how they're in flux is a different reason. I'm not getting into that because that's not to do with this topic. But the point is that in all these moments in flux, there is that escape route. There is that way of that the situation can continue, the human race can go on, the timeline can continue in a certain way, even if the Daleks do exterminate the entire of Manhattan, for example, being a fixed plots moment.
So moving on quickly, the final example I'm going to give, this is just a very brief one. It is the original Time Machine, okay? So this one, I just added this in because I think you can't really talk about time travel in film and TV without mentioning it. But this is a good example of timelines that are very fixed and where by trying to affect something you end up causing it. He travels back in time trying to save someone. Every time he saves them, they end up dying in some other way. That person, their death is fixed for that point, which is, of course, very sad. But, of course, most of this film actually is in the future. So, no paradoxes in the future. That's all fine.
Are we talking future, or are we talking future for 1950?
Future. There are no paradoxes for us. Okay, so I'm very quickly going to move on. I have prepared my normal science section for this week, because how could I let you guys be without it? Okay.
I love this section.
Now, for anyone who hasn't tuned in before, for this part of the section, I'm going to read out 3 science facts. Okay? However, one of those facts I've made up. Yeah, just made it up off the top of my head. And you guys have to try and figure out which one is the false one. Now, I'm going to make it a bit harder on you this week. Okay? I do have an explanation behind each of these. However, when I first read them out, you're only allowed to discuss them amongst yourselves. Okay? Once you feel as though you've settled on something, I will happily give an explanation to each of them and see if you want to change your answers based on that. Okay? So I just want
to have to decide an answer between ourselves, or which one we think is
true.
Yeah,
you can change it. You can change it. I'm just curious as to what your answers would be before I give the explanations.
Right. Yeah,
okay?
Course.
So,
right, we have to work together this time, Rick.
Theory number 1. Ooh.
Like it.
If I were to travel through space at the speed of light for long enough, when I returned, I would be younger than Callum. That's fact number 1. Fact number 2. The Earth is actually flat. As in, not spherical like we believe it is, but flat. And finally, if the picture will load, no.
That's our logo.
It's playing up, Rick.
It's not my problem.
Read the fact.
Okay, sorry, the system seems to have gone a little bit.
Pressing, wait, now go.
No.
Okay.
Just give it the time to stop brain farting, Kieran.
Okay, fact number 3. There we go. Fact number 3.
Cool.
There is an element called imperatum, I think I'm pronouncing that right, or imperatum, that can exist in multiple moments in time at once.
So we're looking for the false one.
You are looking for the false one. So I'll read them very quickly again for you. If I were to travel through space at the speed of light for long enough, when I returned, I'd be younger than Callum. The Earth is actually flat, and there is an element called imperatum that can exist in multiple moments in time at once.
All right, can we discuss now?
Yeah, so you guys discuss amongst you what you
So
think.
I definitely know that the first one is true, due to my understanding of the light space theory. Basically what happened is, he's not saying that he'd be younger than I am currently, is how old I would be by the time he gets back. Because if we move at the speed of light, you are moving at a speed different to us are. So if I just grow up and I get to like 40.
I'm with you. I got
Yeah, he's going to be So that one's the true. Using Einstein's theory.
I'm going to stop doing this whole science section with someone who's actually studying science at the moment. Or just stop going for stuff that's on the syllabus.
Yeah.
The second one just sounds false.
The second one, but that's the point. It sounds so false. Either it's the false one because he thinks we're that silly, we'll think it's true because it's so easy.
We'll try and scientifically explain why it might actually be
true. And the third one, can you read that again? Sorry.
There's an element called imperatum that can exist in multiple moments in time at once.
That one does sound familiar.
How would it?
It's the same element, but basically, it has the ability because of its atomic structure.
How would atomic structure mean it can exist in multiple time periods at once, though?
I don't know. It's these last two which I'm a bit worried on. So it's one of these two.
So let's hear what you think at the moment, and then I will give you
It all
explanations for each of them.
depends on how tenuous your kind of explanation to the answer is going to be. You say that the Earth is flat.
Yep.
Are we talking flat, 2D flat, or are we talking...
I'm talking like paper thin flat.
Oh, we know that's not true. Using science, we know that's not true because how orbits work. If we were 2D,
Yeah.
then we wouldn't be able to have or the moon or satellites orbiting around us because it wouldn't have that spherical orbit shape. We wouldn't go around the sun because our shape again wouldn't be able to.
Tell me, what do you think is the lie then?
It's going to be the third one, isn't it?
I think it's the second one, but I can't literally explain the third one.
The second one is going to be the...
Okay.
It's going to be false.
So, I'm going to make life easier on you. Callum's explanation of the first one is absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
Okay? That one is definitely the truth.
I'm going to get my C in science.
So, explanations for the others. The Earth being flat. Okay. When traveling at the speed of light, everything appears to be compressed. Okay? Everything you go past appears to be flat, like how I'm saying that the Earth is flat. Okay?
Yeah, but you didn't give the information.
No. Wait,
that changes
I'm not
everything.
done.
Okay.
I'm not done. Now, Callum, what is speed a measurement of?
Speed a measurement of? Time and distance.
Time and distance, exactly. Okay. Scientists have said that time is a relative concept. It is something we have created ourselves and doesn't actually have any real bearing on the universe itself.
Yeah.
Therefore, speed, as in the speed of light, is an immeasurable thing, which means that the Earth is both flat and spherical at the same time, because you could argue that the speed of light is the constant state in which the universe is constantly in. Okay? Explanation for number 3. Picture.
That sounds more like a theory than an actual fact.
It sounds like a theory than a fact.
But
Okay.
no, not a theory, a hypothesis, I suppose, because a theory is something that you've got evidence to back up.
Empiricism is a sort of a new form of element. They are calling a quantum element because it actually, to call it an element is kind of a bit of a misdirection, I would say. Below the subatomic level is the quantum level, where what is known as quantum foam exists. Mm-hmm. Now, quantum foam has been used to prove certain theories, like the relativity of time, because they can measure an element going from point A to point B simultaneously in a straight line and in, say, a zigzaggy line, yet reaching point B at exactly the same time whilst going at the same speed. Time just doesn't exist at that kind of level. Now, empiricism is an interesting one because originally it was very difficult to classify it because, say, with like a normal element with its atom, you can classify it by counting the number of neutrons, electrons, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
However, with empiricism, it appeared as though it had an infinitive number of electrons, whilst at the same time having virtually none at all, because it was existing in these different time frames at the same time. It was virtually impossible to count, and was actually discovered in the late 80s, but has only just been classified this year because of that very reason.
Okay.
I've noticed something, and I've made a little diagram.
Okay.
I'm going to talk to Rick about this. Both facts completely opposite each other. He's just saying about how, you may notice he's saying about how they've been able to use this to the quantum foam, sorry? Yeah.
Quantum foam.
Yeah, photon foam, to be able to work out that there is actually a relative of time,
Yeah.
and they're going to measure a element moving from A to B.
Right.
That's time, and I prove that thing does exist in space.
Yes, but I did also
Relative
mention that
time.
time is relative to us. So that's why it was difficult to classify, because it was us trying to classify.
It's being relative to time. However, in B, you did then say that the idea of time relative to us, or in just the universe in general, isn't a thing, henceforth flat. was your reasoning.
Yeah.
So, using the idea of
time being a relative construct is not a recent thing. It's been around for a while.
No, I'm not arguing that.
So what do you think, Callum? Which one do you think is false?
I just did the pyramid with them because time is measured by distance and speed. However, without that, then technically you could say that there is no distance because you need time to work out distance of a movement, and also for the same thing with speed, you need distance and time to work out the speed of something. So if the idea that time is just relative to humans, then there is no distance in the universe or speed.
I'm gonna have to rush you for an answer.
So I'm going to say B is false.
I'm with him. I think he quite. I still don't think C,
is weird,
but I'm with him on B. I'm sticking with Callum. Callum, make your choice.
I've gone B. B is false.
B as in the Earth being flat.
The flat is false.
And you're sticking with Callum.
I'm going with him.
You're wrong.
Oh,
really?
It was C.
C was the made-up one. Made it up off the top of my head. Imperitum. I don't know what that is. I think it's a watch brand.
Explain behind B then, because B doesn't make any sense scientifically.
No, the idea of B, it does make sense scientifically. The only problem...
But it's not a fact, it's a hypothesis.
No, it's not a hypothesis. It's a proven fact. At the first fact, when moving at the speed of light, things are compressed. Okay? So if you were moving past the Earth at the speed of light, it would appear flat. Okay? Time is a relative construct that we have used as a way of kind of dealing with the universe around us.
I agree with you on that.
Time itself doesn't actually exist within the universe. This is currently believed to be scientific fact. Now, obviously, the problem with scientific fact is it may turn out to be completely incorrect 100 years from now. Yeah. We used to think that if you moved past 50 miles an hour, you turn inside out. That was scientific fact just over 100 years ago. But for the time being, time is being considered a relative concept that we use in order to discern other things about the universe, so it doesn't actually exist. Therefore, the Earth is both round and flat at the same time.
All right, yeah, I can get what you're saying with that, but you're using the word therefore, and in the idea of science, it isn't a proven... Yeah, the idea of the time stuff is a proven fact, but the idea of it being spherical and flat at the same time is just going on a theory. Because
it's not a theory because I'm using two facts to back it up.
Yeah.
The therefore is a link into...
My point is making that your point is the perspective...
We have less than 14 minutes left of the show.
Let's move on. We'll argue about this later. Because I can go on this for a little bit.
I did actually get that fact from a published science journal. I would just like to point that out. I did my research into this one.
My point is I'm not saying that your fact is wrong. I'm just thinking that the way how it's been worded... shows it in a perspective of you're not saying that the world is flat, you're saying that the idea of time in the relative...
No, I'm saying the world is flat. That's literally what I'm saying. The world is flat.
Anyway, we're going
to move on.
Let's move on.
So, finally, we are going into the comic section. You liked that, didn't you?
That's cool. Yes.
Okay, so...
I'm mildly amused.
Mildly amused by comic section.
So we're going to quickly blast through my comic book character of the week. Every week I talk about a different comic book character and tell you what to read about them if you are interested in them. And as the Avengers is coming up, I am doing a countdown to the Avengers.
Yeah, he is.
If you missed our last show, it was Captain America. This week I'm going to go for one of the new Avengers with... Nope, that's X-Men.
Yeah, that was the news.
Forgot that we had a news story.
That's a very quick
X-Men.
News story that the 90s X-Men animated series is going to return inside the Marvel Secret Wars story, which will be coming very soon. Basically, the very popular animated series is actually going to be getting a comic book form called the event X-Men 92. You can see the characters which will be presented there on the screen now.
Jubilee.
This is actually the first cover that will be appearing.
Hopefully they make it better. That's all I'm saying.
Instead of just shooting fireworks and being a cheap replacement for Kitty Pryde.
Yeah, and this will appear in May.
Okay.
News done.
Cool. So, moving on to my comic book character of the week, it is the Scarlet Witch.
There she is.
Yep, there she is. That's not what she's going to look like in the
No,
film.
they're not going to get her to look like that at all.
No. So a little bit of publication information. She's, of course, from Marvel Comics. Her first appearance was in the X-Men #4 back in March 1964, which, funnily enough, actually makes her one of the oldest Avengers in terms of publication history.
Wow.
The majority of Stan Lee's bulk of work being in 1963, 1964. So kind of odd that she hasn't been on screen yet. She was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, who, for any really big fans of the comics, will know not only Stan Lee, which is an obvious one, but Jack Kirby has been behind some of the greatest superheroes of all time. Yeah, he's just there. In story information, her alter ego is Wanda Maximoff. Species, human mutant. Team affiliations, Avengers Unity Squad, Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Avengers, Lady Liberators, West Coast Avengers, Defenders, Secret Defenders. Don't tell anyone. Shush. And Force Works. Her noticeable aliases have been Wanda Frank, Anna Maximoff, and Wanda Magnus. Abilities. Now, her abilities tend to vary depending on what it is you're exactly reading. But for the most part, it's a combination of probability manipulation, reality warping, and chaos magic. Okay? The probability manipulation, that's, for anyone who reads the Ultimate version, that's pretty much her only sort of power. And it does come down a lot less to natural talent and a lot more to intellect. There's a good example of it I think it's in Ultimates 2, where she's trying to work out the probability of a bunch of enemies that the Avengers are fighting being just randomly killed, and then makes that happen. So she has to work out the probability of it first, and then she's able to make it occur. The Scarlet Witch, or Wanda Maximoff, is a fictional comic book superhero that appears in books published by Marvel Comics. The character first appeared in X-Men #4, as I've already mentioned, and was created by the great Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. She's had 2 of her own self-titled limited series with her husband, The Vision. Did you know that? She married The Vision.
She married?
She married The Vision, as in Paul Bettany's android character in the new Avengers film.
Right.
Will we see a romance appearing in the film?
I hope so, I do. She's a handsome robot.
He's a handsome robot.
She's best known as being a staple member of the Avengers. Scarlet Witch was ranked 97 in Wizard's 200 Greatest Comic Book Characters of All Time, and 14th in Comic Buyer's Guide 100 Sexiest Women in Comics list.
Are there even 100 women in comics?
It just gets to the
Aunt
late
May.
90s where you've got Aunt May and Big Bertha. Yeah.
Random Pedestrian 52 is number 40.
Obviously, that's terrible. But then again, I would say, are there even I suppose so, but
There is more than 100.
I'd struggle to do a top 100 sexiest men comic book characters. Do you know what I mean?
Juggernaut is up there.
That says a lot about you.
It's a joke.
So, quick biography. Magda, the wife of Magneto, escapes from him while pregnant and takes sanctuary at Mount Wundagore in Transia, the home of the High Evolutionary. She gave birth to twins, Wanda and Pietro, better known as Quicksilver. Mm-hmm. The elder god, Ctholon, which is a really weird name to pronounce, altered Wanda at birth and gave her the ability to use magic in addition to her mutant abilities, planning to use her as a vessel when her powers reach maturity. Fearing that Magnus would discover the children, Magda...
It's that weird storyline they had in the 200th issue, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, God, don't get me started on that.
Magda leaves the sanctuary and dies of exposure to the elements. The twins are tended by Bova. Bova soon assists the superheroine, Miss America, through labour, but the birth results in a stillborn child and Miss America dies in the process. Bova tells to Robert Frank, the Wizard, that the twins were his sons, but he flees, because of the shock from the death of his wife. The High Evolutionary places them instead in the care of the Romani Django and Maria Maximoff, who raise the twins as their own children. The twins are forced to flee a mob when Wanda uses her powers to protect herself and accidentally causes a fire that kills their adoptive Roma mother. They were saved by Magneto, although neither of them were aware of their connection. He recruits them for the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, which fought against the X-Men on several occasions. Magneto is abducted by the cosmic entity Stranger, the Brotherhood dissolves, and the twins declare that their debt to Magneto has been paid. Now, in the Ultimate Universe, it's a very different story. In the Ultimate Marvel imprint, the title Ultimates, the Scarlet Witch and her brother Quicksilver defect from Magneto's Brotherhood of Mutant Supremacy to the Ultimates in exchange for the release of imprisoned Brotherhood members. The twin siblings also share an incestuous relationship.
Oh.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. No. Yeah. In the third volume of Ultimate...
Star Wars all over again.
In the third volume of Ultimates 3, Scarlet Witch is killed by a lovesick Ultron, which later turned out to be orchestrated by Doctor Doom. She is shown to be alive in Wundagore together with Teddy, Blob's younger mutant child, Quicksilver and Mystique. However, she and her father's reappearance in Egypt are revealed to be illusions by Apocalypse. Her dying ends up resulting in the events of Ultimatum, which was originally going to be the way Marvel were going to kill off the Ultimate Universe. Mm-hmm. Magneto, so grief-stricken by finding out his daughter's been murdered and that no one's come forward and, confessed, wipes out nearly half the human population by changing, by about 1,000 miles at the most, the Earth's north and south poles, which causes freak weather events, floods the entire eastern coast, which isn't great. So here we see a concept picture of her for the new Avengers film, very different to the costumes we're used to seeing her in.
I think she'll probably get the hat eventually, maybe.
She's being portrayed by Elizabeth Olsen, which, I'm fine with. I'm kind of liking the fact that this is probably the first character I've seen in the Avengers movies who is in both the regular and Ultimate Universe, who, in very least to the way she looks at the moment, is being done very differently to how she has in the comics.
Yeah.
I think for the film world anyway, she's a little bit too overly sexualized in the comics. She spends most of her time wearing a swimsuit and a cape.
Yeah.
Got this picture because I just thought, that looks really awkward. And also, I'm fairly certain that, they haven't revealed this in the films yet, but I'm fairly certain that she's been getting powers from Hank Pym. Because if you notice, she's always looking up. I think she's very tiny. No, Captain America, don't stand on me!
Oh, God.
So I think she's actually very tiny.
That was a terrible joke.
I think she's actually very tiny. No, look at her. There we see her being revealed in the end of Winter Soldier, which was a huge thing. A lot of people are speculating, because they've had to change the way they got their powers, that they got them from Loki's staff.
We know a little bit of it was about that because the Loki staff was in that thing, and they had a line in the end of it that these two were infected or that they were bred or to something to do with either Loki's staff or the mist from Thor. It was one of the two.
Now, a lot of people are speculating that Loki's staff is actually one of the Infinity Stones. I don't think it is.
Do you not?
I'm really against that idea for several.
Well, didn't he get given it by Thanos?
Yeah. Why would Thanos use an Infinity Stone to go and get another one?
Yeah.
Very quickly, my recommendation for the Scarlet Witch would have to be the House of M series. This was a big deal. Basically, she had a bit of a breakdown, and as a result of it, used her powers, and a Kree warship appeared above the Avengers mansion. I mentioned this in a previous show because this ended up resulting in the death of Hawkeye. She then went crazy and recreated the entire world in which mutants were actually the dominant species.
Yeah.
Then, when that was undone, came back and about 2/3 of the mutant population had lost their X gene and become normal people, humans. It's a great series. She's not a huge character within it, actually within House of M. But, she is the cause of this. And I'd say, if you want to read some Scarlet Witch stuff, that's where you're getting right into the good stuff,
Yeah.
So let's just go for that. So that is the end of my comic book recommendation. And
we're very close to the end of the show.
we are very close to the end of the show. We've got just over a minute left.
Oh, fancy pants.
Yeah, so good timing.
Yeah, so my main problem with Loki's staff being an Infinity Stone is not only the fact that why would Thanos risk an Infinity Stone just to go and get another one? But there's also the fact that one Infinity Stone can be used to stop the other one. He uses it to stop the Tesseract, so it's like saying this one's more powerful or something. But the main thing is, an Infinity Stone, all that power, right? Why wouldn't it be able to work through Tony Stark's arc reactor? When he taps it on his chest and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You'd
Reason I
an
think it
Infinity-
might be because it's a good way of showing Loki as a puppet for Thanos. And
But
it'll
he
be able
should
to build
just
him
be
up
able
as a
to.
bigger-
He should be able to go Ronin, tap that thing on the ground, and everyone in the world is his slave.
Yeah.
But anyway, we are very quickly running out of time, so I just want to say thank you for everyone who tuned in on YouNow. Remember, you can get in touch with us in the week if you want us to put anything on. Just tweet us at Nerdemic Show.
Or on the Facebook page.
Right,
Have a great geeky week.